Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4playernetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. Out really well. Hey everyone, welcome to 4Player Podcast. This is episode 564. My name is Nick Henderson. I am joined today by Brad Simons.
Yo.
Nolan Hedstrom.
How's it going, everybody?
And Christopher Guthridge.
Hello!
It is July 19th, 2018, and we have so much to talk about tonight. There's so many video games, so much news. But before we do that, there's a couple things I want to take a moment to pimp real quick. One, Discord. If you are out there and you are listening to the show with your ears and you're like, man, these guys are pretty cool, I wonder if I could hang out with them. No. You could. You totally could by joining our free community Discord. You'll find it at discord.gg/4player. You can come chat with us. You can chat with all the cool people in our community. It's free. It's great. We love it. Do that. Also, I want to let everybody know we recorded another episode of 4Player Plus. We do these bonus podcasts weekly here. And I recorded an episode this week with the one and only Chris Davis, because he's the only other one who's seen Jurassic World.
Pretty sure there's more than one Chris Davis in the world.
I thought you were going to talk about this
name.
Jurassic Park
That
game as
seems
part
really
of 4Player Plus.
We did talk about it a little bit. In fact, I was like, because I was going to record that episode. It was the night I had to go pick up Robin for the airport. I thought I was going to have a really short stream. I didn't think I was going to have much time, so I was like, let's try and keep this episode kind of short. You know, movie's been out for 3 or 4 weeks, whatever. We'll just kind of keep it short. We talked about that movie for an hour and 20 minutes. including Jurassic World Evolution.
Almost as long as the movie.
Wait, you talked about the game in the 4Player Plus?
Little bit.
Well, then we shouldn't talk about it.
We
tonight
talked about
to
it
give
for
people
like
a chance to go listen.
At least you and Chris shouldn't.
You
to the 4Player
shut your
Plus.
mouth. We talked about it for literally like 5 minutes. Literally 5 minutes. I am going to talk more about. We're going to actually have Chris Davis on in the second segment briefly so we can talk a little bit more about Jurassic World Evolution. But we also have a bunch of other stuff to talk about tonight. More Octopath Traveler, some VR games, all kinds of stuff. So stay tuned for that. But before we get too far, of course, I want to start the show off with feedback. There's not a lot this week.
Good.
Huh?
Who needs them?
I know, man. It's kind of sad. Last week we had like 20 comments. This week we had one. One, guys. Anyways, that's not the point. We appreciate any all comments. If there's anything you want to say in regards to any of the conversations we have on tonight's show, if you have an opinion and you'd like to share it, please head on over to 4playernetwork.com, find the post for this episode, drop us a comment. We will read it and respond to it at the beginning of the next episode. That also enters you in the drawing that we do monthly for a free game. That's a free game up to a $60 value. So it could be worth your time on more than one level. This week, we hear from Tobley. He said, when Brad talked about Radiant Historia, it made me want to pick it back up. I have the original DS version, and I put a decent amount of hours into it, but I would probably have to restart since my memory of it is fuzzy. Are you listening, Brad?
I'm listening.
All right.
I already read it.
I have been reattempting several games that I did not get through the first time so far this year. I finished Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age, and I'm currently playing through Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. Both of these are games that I played extensively on the PS2 without finishing. Not a whole lot to actually respond to there, but
he
does want to play Radiant Historia, which is something you talked about on last week's show.
We don't always have to respond to feedback.
I do recommend picking it back up. I've been continuing to play, and it is very good.
Wait, but he says he has the original DS version, so that's not the one that you talked about.
No. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe if he wants to spring for it, if you're planning on starting over, maybe get the new one. I think it's only, $30 or whatever.
Probably.
It's really good, and the it has voice acting now, and the acting is really good too.
I mean, he did say that he would probably have to restart it anyway.
Yeah,
so it sounds like if you're gonna have to restart it anyways, you might as well go all in.
It's a very slow. It's a very, very slow start. So I'm not surprised he kind of fell off. I would recommend people who are starting that game to kind of push through that first chapter. It gets really engrossing.
Well, thank you for your comment, Tobley. We appreciate it. And I think that is all we have for feedback. Before we get too far into this too, I would like to say, if you're watching us live, which of course you can do that, we record these podcasts every Thursday night at around 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on 4pp.tv. If you're watching us live, hang around during the break. We have something to show you guys, so don't go anywhere. But before we do that, we have lots of video games to talk about, like I said. Should I start with Octopath Traveler?
Do it.
It is.
Has
on
anybody
the
else here
banner.
played any more Octopath Traveler? Or
No.
I was kind of afraid this was going to happen. You all suck.
I don't have a Switch.
I mean, you recall I did not enjoy myself, and I am choosing not to play this game.
I do remember
You're
that.
not. You did play it and
He-
have not.
I played
enjoyed
the
it?
first 3 hours of the game. I
The
did not
demo?
like it, so I chose not to continue.
Wow.
Yeah.
But like,
Wow.
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 No. Nick, yours was a little off.
Wait, mine?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's too nasally.
Now you got me thinking about it. Hold on, I got to get a good one out. Wow.
No, it's got so much of a twang
Damn
to
it.
it. Why are you
Damn it,
twanging?
you're making me laugh, and I can't do this.
The demo. Everyone keeps calling it a demo.
W-A-W.
Brad, you only played a demo.
No
it was the
way.
first 3 hours of the game.
No, I'm just saying
Wow.
though, like you didn't buy it, right?
No, I
Okay.
definitely did not.
I
In
did.
fact, after I played that demo, I removed it from my GameFly queue.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
Any-
But
anybody else got... Does anybody else
is
need to
it?
get that
But-
off their chest?
So I
Wow.
know this whole thing about the narrative structure of the game has been a big deal.
Okay,
Talk to
that's,
me.
that's what I want to talk about.
And I've seen a lot of discussions online, like on Twitter, about it, and a lot of people were really concerned, the same way that we were, about
Me,
this.
I will.
Okay,
Way to
that
take
only
ownership of it,
Brad
Brad.
was that nobody else was concerned about because he's the only one with the forethought and the foresight to
No,
be worried
I
about
was
such
the
a
only one who
thing.
played the prologue demo.
That this was going to be an ensemble story that had no semblance of ensemble whatsoever. And kind of like despite that, the reaction I've seen since launch has been like, oh well, no, it's still really good.
Okay,
Like,
and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. And first of all, Brad, taking ownership of that opinion is weird because we're on a podcast here. You did spend a bunch of time talking about it, and I think we all left with the same concern based on your reaction
I see
to
what you're
it.
saying, but I'm saying,
But Brad
that,
said it, though,
That
Nick,
was
so you
just
gotta-
based on
Brad
my
said
reaction,
it,
and I don't.
so.
I definitely want
That's all.
to echo
That's
that
the only thing
that
counts.
was my
Brad's mouth.
opinion,
Yeah.
and instead of obtaining that opinion yourself, you were just kind of trusting me here.
Well, of course I'm trusting you.
well,
We're on a
all I
podcast
have,
together.
all I have is you guys. I don't have a Switch. I would really, really like to be playing this game, but I can't.
Fair enough.
I'm only
So,
saying this
I'm
because
kinda
people have been kind of dumping.
Now,
on
I
me.
will say this. You are not the only person that expressed these feelings.
pretty sure
there
I
have been
expressed
several
them, too.
reviews that express those exact same opinions.
I
will be honest. After we talked about it the first time, I was on board with your concerns. However, I was having a really hard time in my head, kind of like visualizing the structure based on the way you described it, because I think it is kind of an obtuse thing to try and wrap your head around because it's not a normal way to tell a story.
no.
You have 8. This is going to be rehashing this, but so for that I apologize.
Nick,
but
would you say
Rehash
that this
me,
game
baby.
contains 8 paths?
Yes, there are 8 paths, 8 characters in this game, right?
Did you know that the
And
8
no
characters
octopuses.
spell
No
out
octopuses.
the first letter of each
I don't know.
character spells out Octopath?
Yes, I saw that. And apparently, if you look at the world map, and you see where all their starting locations are, and you connect them with lines, they
It's
make
an octagon?
Octagon.
Well, wouldn't any 8 points do that?
Not if one was like down in the
But,
middle.
like, it's like a perfect
sorry,
octagon.
sorry, yes.
Right?
An octagon is an 8-sided figure, so there's a term for an octagon that has exactly the same length.
Let's
Sorry.
Are we ever
transition
gonna
to
talk
how
about
many
the
legs
lateral
an
All right,
octagon
sorry,
has.
Nick. Why is this
Nick,
game
is
bad?
the game good, and why is
Why
it
is
good?
the game so bad?
No. Why is it good?
Okay, let me tell you
Why
this.
is it mediocre?
Why is it bad? And then tell us why it's good, and then tell us why it's mediocre, and then let's never talk about it again.
Fair enough. I'll do exactly that.
Okay.
Anyways, based on Brad was trying to describe it, and he did a good job of describing it. It's still going to be a really hard thing to kind of describe because there's 8 different characters. You pick one character. You start as that character.
Can I
right?
interrupt real quick?
Yes. Please
How
do.
many characters have you played so far?
3.
Cool, perfect.
Whoa.
Keep going.
All right.
I played 3.
You pick any one of the 8 characters. That determines which starting story you have, where you start on the world map, and you set out on that character to progress that character's story, right? Now, one thing I was confused about going into this that I wasn't sure is like, because one of the big complaints we've heard, and rightfully so, is that, you know, after Brad's first 3 hours, he was talking about how there was no even hint or suggestion that their storylines interact or
Right.
cross paths in any
Yeah.
significant way. there's not much in the way of banter between the characters, right? And I was like, how does that work? Especially when they are part of your party, and that was what I was kind of confused about. Now that I've played about 5 hours of it, I feel like I have a better grasp on that, and I can definitely see why it is maybe divisive and why it would turn off certain people. And I'm not even saying I'm totally on board with it yet. I will say I find it to be a pretty unique way to tell a story, because essentially what it does, you pick your character, they set up her story or his story, and then you set out on their journey. And then you can kind of go explore the world as you will. When you get to a town that has another character and you meet that character and you talk to them, suddenly it says, hey, do you want to see the setup for their story? And then it cuts over.
Did you say yes or no?
Yes. And you say, I mean, that
if you say no,
you
just get the character and they just
It's
move
a serious
along?
question.
Wait, no, I don't think so.
No, you just keep going with the current
Yeah,
storyline that you're on, and it's available to go back to later.
Yeah, so
Okay,
I was
okay.
So
kind
it's
of
like a really non-linear kind of like jumping around.
Well, here's the thing. The way I was picturing it, the way Brad described it, I was like, so I play like because everyone said like it's a couple hours to finish a chapter, and each character has like 4 chapters, right? So I was kind of under the impression like I would do something solely as one character. I would see a conclusive end to their chapter. It would say like end of chapter 1, and then it would switch over, and I would be jumped over to another character and playing their story.
Oh,
that's not how it
that's how I
works.
described
Well, I mean
it,
that's.
but-
No,
I listened to that podcast after we recorded, Brad. So
for lack of any actual concrete description of what happened, I think that's mostly like what we assumed.
It's
That's
hard-
that's kind of the image I had. In my
it's a
head of it.
strange thing to try and wrap your head around.
Yeah.
So I didn't totally get it until I saw it in person. So you meet another character. It says, "Do you want to see the beginning of their story?" You say yes. It suddenly tells their backstory. You play it you play the first chapter as them. You kind of do their story thing, and then at the end of that chapter, they join your party, and it's basically like they're joining your party because they too are on a journey that's going to take them across the world, right? So they're kind of like, I'll be your traveling companion because we're all going to do things out in the world.
But let me ask you.
But when they do that, they're on the journey with you, but there's not any like dialogue between them on the journey. You're just kind of going along, and when you get to a point in the world where another character's story takes place, it focuses on that character, but the other characters are still with you.
So like when you do the origin story for a character, because I don't remember.
Yeah.
That character that you've already unlocked previously just kind of fades away from all story scenes. But do they still show up in battle?
Yes. Okay. No.
So that doesn't even make sense.
Actually, no. So for example, I picked Primrose, right? The dancer. Yeah. I liked her story, and I was like, I wouldn't mind her story being kind of like the kicking off point for my game.
Hey
So
man, that's a really good game.
What?
Her story is a good game.
Oh yeah.
very
That's
I'm
what
sorry. Continue.
Anyways,
Primrose.
I have Primrose. And let's just say the one you're seeing the footage for here. I met Fillion, which is the thief in this town. And so when you go there, it tells you like this is me. I just met him. It's telling you the beginning of his story. He's having a flashback, right? And throughout the sequence, you're by yourself. You're seeing the beginning of Filion's story. And at some point, when it gets to a point where like his story is ready to continue, not necessarily the end of his chapter, but when his story is ready to continue, he does join Primrose's party. If there are battles where you play as Fillion by himself, it is usually because it's like a flashback or something, right? And Primrose was never there to begin with. So, as far as I can tell so far, based on what I've played so far, you do have a moment where the characters meet and physically join party, and from that point forward, they are fighting together. But if you're doing any story stuff and they haven't gotten to the point in that person's introductory story where they have met your other playable character, they will be in battle by themselves. So you play their story until they come together, and then from that point forward, they're together.
Okay.
But when you're in so you get to a town where it says like Chapter 2, Fillion, whatever, you'll go into that town, you'll have your other characters, but the events in that town focus on progressing Fillion's story. But your other characters are with
How many
them.
max characters do you have in battle? 3?
4, I
Four?
think.
4.
Yeah,
Okay.
4.
But then you can go to that same town later as
Yeah,
part of somebody
it
else's
seems to me, and this is kind of what
story.
I'm not entirely sure about yet.
Yeah.
It seems to me like specific places in the world are specific to certain characters. Like as far as you go to one town, and the only thing that's going to happen to progress the story in that game is going to pertain to one particular character. But your other characters are with them, so you're just progressing the story. They get to a town, and they're like, oh. And then they see a character, and it's like, oh, this Fillion reacts to it, and then you're like, oh, okay, this is picking up Fillion's story and continuing from that point.
Have you done any side quests?
I'm actually kind of confused about that because I don't think I've received any side quests.
Yeah, you have. It's the dudes with the yellow exclamation points over their heads.
Oh, I haven't done any of those yet.
But they're all over the place.
I haven't. I really? Because I feel like I haven't seen
after
any.
you get your first character.
I remember
after
seeing
you
them.
complete the first story for the first character, you see NPCs all over town with, I don't know if it's an exclamation point, but little yellow things over their head.
I've seen a lot of people with like little speech bubbles over their head, but
those are the ones I think.
But those are just people you can talk to, and you can use your.
There's definitely an icon.
There's a unique
denotes-
icon that symbolizes like a.
Well, to
Yeah.
answer your
Side
question,
or whatever
I
quest.
have not done any side quests yet,
Damn it.
which is strange because
I wanted to ask because all the ones that I had attempted to do were just like.
Now that's another
basic
another
stuff.
complaint so the reviews that I read, a lot of people talked about the side quests kind of being uninteresting. They kind of boil down to basic fetch questy stuff, and none of it really seems to like really push forward the plot in any meaningful way. Now like I said, I'm still early. I've only played 3 characters so far. I have liked each individual character's starting story, and I am kind of invested in all 3 of them so far. Now, the fact that I'm going to play those stories, I'm going to see those stories play out without really having any input from the other characters does seem like a bit of a bummer.
There are like the occasional support style conversation, a la something like a Fire Emblem. Nothing like too deep, but what'll happen is at certain points, for some reasons, they'll trigger, and there's just a little back and forth between 2 of the characters that are.
Yeah,
I heard them compared to like a support conversation from Fire Emblem. If you've played Fire Emblem,
I played a little bit. I mean,
I
know
that's
what
not
you're
much to it, but that's your interaction for the game, from what I understand.
True, and to be honest,
you're saying that's the only interaction between the 2 characters, really?
yeah,
between any of the
it's pretty basic. Like when you are progressing a story, you are progressing an individual character story, and you just have your other characters are there to serve as support in battle, basically. But those individual stories so far, the ones that I have specifically played, Primrose, Alphen, who's the
Alchemist?
apothecary, and Therion, who's the thief. And so far, I'm liking all of their individual personalities. I'm liking all their backstories. I'm liking their supporting characters in their individual towns. I will say they all seem kind of. If you've played any like classic JRPG, right? Sure. They all seem pretty basic.
Yeah.
But that's not to say they aren't interesting.
So
I don't think they're going to be iconic like something like a character from like Final Fantasy VI. You know, a lot of people were comparing it to that. But like, they're at least interesting, and I'm kind of I'm engaged by their stories, and I want to see what happens next. One of the things I talked about the other week was like it's kind of a bummer that like when you talk to characters, they don't have any like animation flirt. Like you don't see like animated versions of their characters come out and like talk to each other and stuff. And
I mean that's a typical RPG,
and it's kind of
old school.
Yeah, and it's kind of
almost NES era.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's kind of difficult to like demonstrate, or it's kind of hard to present like interesting action with these characters, right? To have it like really visually interesting. I mean, it's a beautiful game. It has a great soundtrack. It has good voice acting where there is voice acting. But like, if you're having like a dramatic scene and there's like and swords come out and there's about to be like a fight, like it's kind of hard to make that super...
I do agree with you to that extent, Nick. That it is nice when, and it doesn't take much. When you have those, characters that are talking, and you have like kind of a higher res version of that character, looks a little bit nicer, and
the game does have really great art.
They'll have they'll be smiling, or they'll say something sassy, and they have like a smirk, or if they get kind of like uppity or whatever, they'll put the hand on the hip, and you know what I'm saying, like kind of the slight motions that can
in this game.
No, I mean, I'm saying it doesn't
would be
exist
nice.
in this game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I like when games do that, when it shows you more character. When you read something on paper, or in the game, you can only get so much of the emotion out of the words.
Yeah.
But when you show that subtle, just like a little, like
even if it's just a static drawing with a character,
like a 5 kilobyte image, that doesn't take much memory. It's just to show like the character's emotion.
Some of the better 16-bit or a lot of the 16-bit RPGs from that era that this is obviously trying to evoke. Even though they did have sprites that look similar to this, they had like this variety of animations that gave them life. Like imagine, like a laughing character in like a Final Fantasy VI, or like a Chrono Trigger,
and I think it's especially disappointing when I do realize that like the art style outside of the game itself, like the cover art, the concept art, when you see the characters drawn and stuff, we do know it's beautiful art.
Sure.
Like if they had like still versions of that kind of
Oh my
style
God,
art
that'd
that
be
came out
amazing.
and like had little like smile and that kind of stuff would be really great. And the fact that it's not here is kind of disappointing. But the sprite work's incredible. The environments are incredible. The soundtrack's pretty damn great so far. What's up, Nolan?
Question. So you've played 3 characters so far, which I
Yes.
assume that means you've been to 3 different towns in the game, 3 different at least
Yeah, and
locations.
I've gone to like 3 different like dungeons. And
How
stuff.
have those locations been? How have they differed from each other in the quality of like the towns? Have they looked different enough? Has the music in each area changed? Stuff
Yeah,
like
the
that?
music is there's a lot of music in this game, and I also and like the visual style in the areas has been pretty like as you can see I'm in this like canyon area right now. When I started my game, I was in this kind of like sandy desert town, and then the second
Primstown,
story,
right?
yeah, Primstown.
Sure.
The second town I went to was like a very foresty area, and all the areas are beautiful. They are kind of basic in terms of design, right? And a lot of like the one trick that
Basic
it kind
or
of
simple?
Simple. The thing is, like, the one trick they use over and over again to kind of make it seem like you're exploring an environment is you can see chests and stuff, but you can't quite tell how to get to them because a lot of the paths are like hidden behind itself. So you have to kind of like feel around to try and
It's almost
find.
like a pop-up book or something.
Yeah, you
where
have to
it's
find
like,
your
yeah.
way around the 3D aspects of the environment to get to stuff. And beyond that, I haven't really seen a whole lot to differentiate them. But like the environments themselves look amazing, and the sprite work I think is incredible. I'm really enjoying all that stuff. It's I'm just kind of waiting to see what this game looks like, 20 hours in versus 5 hours,
Or 60 hours in.
And once,
Here it's
yeah,
kinda long.
yeah. But like now that I kind of know how the story progresses, and that like I'm as I'm collecting the characters and I see how to progress the story and have a better feel for that, I'm actually I'm enjoying it quite a bit. One
you
thing
didn't talk about the battle system, which is one thing
we've
that
talked about it a lot.
I know, but it's the one thing that kind of universally, even me when I talked about it, a couple weeks ago, I enjoyed. So
yeah, no, I think it's great. The thing is, I will say I don't think I've seen much outside of what we've already talked about. A lot of it's
exploiting the weakness.
yeah,
breaking,
and I
manipulate,
like
turn order.
the exploiting the weakness. I like how you earn job points and unlock skills. I've unlocked several support skills, which is cool. Once you earn a certain amount of regular skills, you unlock random support skills that you can then choose to assign to your character. Like one will actually give you like a random chance to like counter an attack if you're hit with a physical attack, that kind of stuff.
I have a question. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about it on podcasts and stuff. But one thing I didn't notice when I played it is that there's like something that there's like some like icon on an enemy that shows how many hits they have before they're broken.
Yes, to the left, like you'll see the enemy on screen. So the shields, see little blue shields.
Okay,
they have a number in them.
I wasn't even paying attention to that.
So that enemy has a
cool.
number 1, and if you hit them with one attack from their weakness,
I like how much
it'll
information this game surfaces.
Yeah,
but like one of the things I really like in a JRPG is when they present to you all the information, like as far as like turn orders go, as far as that kind of stuff.
The
goes.
turn order too is also pretty unique, I think, and because I don't usually pay this much attention to it, but I think it's kind of cool. So like, it'll show you, it'll give everyone.
It's
it'll
random what they show.
Yeah, it gives you a random turn order, right, for each set of turns. So when you do a full round and everyone gets their turn, it's completely random, and it'll show that set and it'll move it to the left. But you see the next set of turns coming up, and so when you finish all your turns on the left, the next set of turn order moves to the left.
It's pretty common
So-
to show like for future turns, but
Yeah, I think it's pretty smartly designed here.
But the idea that they randomize every turn? That's kind of interesting.
It is weird. So like,
that
I
honestly
don't know
kind
if
of
I'm-
sucks, with the exception of the fact that one, they're showing you, and two, you have, the big meta strategy of combat is manipulating those turn orders.
Okay.
So like that makes it okay, as opposed to like Bravely
there's a lot of-
Default, which had a
Yeah.
solid combat system, but you never knew what order anyone was going to fucking do anything in.
Right.
It almost seemed like
But
random.
the
Like
whole
Dragon Quest is like
thing
that too.
is-
I hate that.
If the whole thing is like kind of revolving around manipulating that
Yeah.
order, that's one thing.
Yeah. Because breaking kills an enemy's turn, but you can do stuff
it's-
like smartly. What you can do is you can choose to defend your turn, and that'll put you at the start of the turn order
Yeah.
for the next turn.
That kind of sounds like Bravely Default a little bit.
A little bit, but in Bravely Default, it didn't surface all this information.
Right.
there's definitely
You
some of the
couldn't
DNA
really
from
hang
up.
Bravely
Yeah.
Default in this
Well,
game.
yeah, it's a couple.
sure.
Some of the leads from Bravely Default are working on
Yeah.
this.
You know what I will say? I played this. So I went to record this footage and I popped it onto my into the dock, right? And I was playing on the TV. And first of all, I think this game is obviously absolutely gorgeous.
You can turn the black corners off, by the way.
I like the
vignetting.
I like the vignetting.
The vignette.
Oh.
Yeah.
I have a hard time seeing.
I'd have to
sometimes
see
in
it
this
with
game,
both.
I think the vignetting is especially beautiful on. It adds a lot on the like when you were playing it in handheld mode. When I docked it and was playing it, it's still beautiful, but like some of that sprite work's like real. You know, it's really hard to kind of like when you're playing on a handheld. Like I feel like I can make up a lot of the detail on the character sprites, but when you blow it up and you're playing on like a 60-inch TV, like those sprites look kind of.
You think so?
I really like.
I mean, if you sit far enough away, and you know, it doesn't really hurt it much. But like, I think this game is definitely a better experience, or at least a prettier game when you play it in handheld
you
mode.
blow up any kind of 8-bit sprites. It
Yeah.
kinda loses the effect.
It is a.
Yeah,
I really
sharp
like
game.
that.
It depends on the resolution, obviously.
Yeah.
I really like the sense of depth and the tilt shift effect that they use to kind of like make everything seem, you know, like a diorama.
Yeah,
or
and they
like a
make
model,
there's like a
you know?
there's like a strip at the top and a strip at the bottom, so the foreground and the background that's blurred out.
Yeah.
And in conjunction with the vignetting is beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it.
Can I ask about story?
Yeah.
So you played a little bit of 3 character
Yes.
stories so
I
far.
I basically finished 3 chapter 1s.
We're saying that the side quests don't really add much to the story. And
As someone who hasn't played one yet,
sure,
but yeah,
that's
what I've
kind of
heard.
that is kind of the scuttlebutt that's been
Yes.
going around, and that there maybe isn't as much intersection between the characters as we had hoped or would want, which I don't think is necessarily a mark against it off the bat, because I think what matters is the individual stories, like the actual character stories, and how have those been? Like, how is the content of like how has
liked it.
like
yeah, they're pretty.
what is, like Primrose's story? How much like not just like how much quality is there in it, but like how much variety is there between them? Like, is one person's story like much more like a revenge tale, and like another
Yeah.
person's story is much more like
You'll
like,
see that.
You
So
sound like you know it exactly. That's
So
exactly what
Primrose,
is.
Primrose is on
Okay.
is on a revenge tale. She's trying to find these guys who have these crow tattoos that murdered her father when she was younger.
Okay.
She's literally living as a dancer in this town, like working as a dancer,
An exotic
an exotic dancer, because she heard that one of the people with the crow tattoos has frequented this club. So she's literally doing this job just so she can try and access this person.
As opposed to like, I'll say I played Tressa.
Yeah.
Her story, it's like happy-go-lucky. I want to explore
Right.
the world and become the best merchant ever.
like youthful naive.
Yeah,
like-
Alphen as an apothecary, he was saved by a traveling apothecary when he was a kid, he said something like he said how like his friend said to him like, you saved his life, how much do I owe you, or something like that, and it was like, nonsense, you don't owe me anything, I just helped someone in need. And that's kind of like becomes his like mantra. So he's like, and his best friend is like, oh, you want to leave this town, don't you? And he's like, yeah, he basically wants to become that traveling apothecary that saved his life when he was a kid, that kind of thing. So now I would imagine that you're going to have all these individual stories, and by the time you get to the very end, there's got to be some through line that makes them all related in some way.
I don't think a writer would do that to themselves.
Yeah.
but like, and that's kind of why, as we've talked about it and I've like thought about it more and read about it, like the idea that this isn't going to be the story of this ensemble of characters doing this thing, you know, and like they're growing, like I don't think that's necessarily a mark against the game.
I don't either.
If the stories that it's telling are good. I mean, a lot of like books and movies and like other kinds of story-based media that I really like, you know, some of my favorite pieces are stories about like two disparate characters who are on other sides of a world, exploring that world from different angles, and then like maybe there's a path crossing at the end that like the view, you know, the audience knows like, oh my god, this is amazing, these two people are intersecting, but they only like cross once.
The only
and
weird
kind of
thing
bounce
here,
away from
the only
each other.
weird thing though is they are traveling together.
Yeah.
Which
So
is what
it's
makes-
kind of weird. I can see that being like it being kind of an artifice of video games, I guess, where like you could have all these characters who are very much technically involved with one another, but like their stories are told in very like separate, disparate ways. But I think as long as those stories have a good variety to them, have a good quality to them. I think that's a pretty interesting way to flesh out a world that is interesting.
And that's why I'm kind of on board for it right now.
Which I feel like if the game world, if like this kind of like setting that they've created for this game is, you know, has any bit of depth or like interest to it, you know, that would be a really cool way to show the audience many different parts of it from many different angles. You know, you've got characters who come from different classes of society. You've got characters who come from, you know, different ends of like the moral spectrum, and you've got characters who have different philosophies and different worldviews, and how all of them deal with this same thing that is this world. You know, is a really interesting way to do that, and I think that. I've thought a lot about like the way we were talking about this game when we were talking about the demo and the way people were kind of freaking out, and like I don't think that this like, you know, Seven Samurai style ensemble movie where there is no like main character and it's just like a group of people who are all different but they're all locked in the same struggle doesn't necessarily have to be the only way we do things like this.
Yeah,
you know, like
sure.
I think there's a lot of value in telling individual stories in a kind of multiplicitous setting.
I'm definitely gonna keep playing it, and I will say by this time next week I should have.
Do you disagree?
No, I'm saying my problem is from based on the demos.
No, I'm not saying that was
Brad,
your problem.
Brad,
I'm
need
saying
to
that
disagree.
was.
We need the show to be good. You have to disagree.
No. The thing is, I agree with him. I agree. Like that structure can be.
Yeah.
Is like.
There's a way to do it well.
Can be good.
Yeah.
But my problems with story were like far more like kind of uninspired
Actual
writing,
nuts
basic
and bolts
stories,
of the writing.
Very kind of budgety presentation.
That's
honestly.
kind of what I'm asking about, and that's what needs to be solid.
I think it's hard because like I will say budget in terms of like they didn't go above and beyond to like spice up the presentation of certain things.
Sure.
I haven't really had an issue with the writing so far, other than to say that some of the like setups for the characters are kind of cliche, right? I mean,
which cliches can be fine. I play a lot of games that animate cliches.
Fantasy,
I found some of this lifeless.
Genre fiction,
but you
fantasy
also
in particular relies on the archetype and the trope pretty heavily.
I will also say, Brad, you've played probably 20 times more JRPGs than I have in my life.
But that's not even the point.
No, hold on. I'm jumping on Brad's thing here. Just because you've seen something 100 times doesn't mean it can't be done well. And if it's done in a mediocre way, it's still not going to be good.
I will say this. Let's return to this after I've spent like 20 hours with it and I've seen more of their story.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Also, like Brad said earlier, it's more like this game's like 60, 70 hours. It's a long, and that's kind of one of my hesitations to get into it because I was worried that it would be a mediocre game that I'd spend 80 hours on and be like, well, I mean, was the journey worth it?
I will say this.
I mean, you're definitely still in the front quarter.
Yeah,
of the whole
for
thing,
sure.
Yeah.
From the first 5 hours I've spent with it, I would say like I'm I haven't played a JRPG in a while, and I'm like just really happy to be kind of playing this style of game. And I think it does have an excellent presentation, aside from a few noticeable like things that are lacking. Yeah, visuals, and I think the music is fantastic, and the voice acting so far has been great. I love the world map. Like, I mean, it's just little things.
Let me ask you this: have you seen any dungeon that's more than just a few screens of like the most basic bullshit?
I've only done 3, so no. That's what I'm saying. Like the dungeons so far are fairly short, and they use that one trick over and over again where they show you a chest that you don't know how to get to, and you have to kind of like feel around the environment to find it. Other than that, they've been kind of straightforward. But I would imagine that by the time you get farther and like halfway through this game or towards the end of the game, the dungeons, while may have the same design philosophy, are on a bigger scale. Maybe, I don't know. And some of the boss fights I've had have been really come really close to the wire. Like trying to like manage my HP and bounce back and use different abilities. That stuff's been great. So like,
but has there been any memorable bosses as far as like unique gimmicks or anything?
I fought a big snake, and it was basically impossible to unpoison yourself. So I was constantly having to manage fighting, like whittling his HP down while keeping my HP high enough, and like which we've seen that before. Like I said, there's a lot of cliches in this game, but I've had a lot of fun playing all the bosses that I've fought so far. There's only been 3, so I don't know.
Okay.
let's move on.
Yeah,
I will
play
I will,
more. Play more.
Yes, I will. I absolutely intend to continue playing this, and in fact, I'm hoping that I can maybe finish this. I said this before. I've never finished an RPG of this style, like of this like retro style RPG.
Jeez,
What you know? What
That-
if you really like this one? You can use that maybe as a springboard to play some of the other ones.
I would love to. Like, I've always wanted to play like Chrono Trigger. I've always wanted to play Final Fantasy VI, and I'm hoping that maybe I can play this, really enjoy it, and maybe if I enjoy this enough, to be like, well, I've heard amazing things about those games. Maybe
I
I'll
also
go play
recommend
those.
You've never
Suikoden,
played
Grandia,
Yes.
and Lunar.
You never played Chrono Trigger?
He played some
I've
of
played
it.
like 5
Which
3 or
kills
4
me.
hours of it. Yeah.
I mean, he
That's awesome.
gave
I
up
thought
on
I was the
Chrono
only
Trigger.
person in the world who'd never played Chrono Trigger.
You are bad people. Play it together.
What?
Play it together. Get together, sit on a couch, and play Chrono Trigger.
Well, fuck you, bro. I played Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, I know. We've played it.
All right, let's move on.
Oh, okay.
Chris
High
Davis
five
has
from
played
across
Chrono
the room.
Trigger. All right, let's move on.
If Chris Davis has played a JRPG that you haven't, there's something wrong.
I know. I'm failing at my JRPG cred.
Well, I
Because-
will, like, hold on.
the face that Chris
You
Davis
played all the Final Fantasy 13s.
I did.
And not Chrono Trigger and not Final
That's why I
Fantasy
said
6.
JRPG of this style. I have played a lot.
How have you played all the Final Fantasy 13s?
I have played a lot of
he bought
JRPGs in
them.
a post Final Fantasy VII world.
Sure. Fair enough.
So, Nick, I will add, just to kind of, from what you said earlier, one of my reasons that I got hyped for this game and then I was excited for it was because I wanted to play a RPG of this style. It's been a while since I played one, and I was looking for one. And hey, another fucking game to play on my Switch. Yes, let's do it.
Yeah, I think.
And so I was super excited for it. And then we talked about it before, but after the original demo that came out, I enjoyed it, but like definitely less excited.
Yeah,
and
and I can see why it would have that effect. So
Didn't you start Bravely Default?
I did, and I played like 35 hours of that game.
Isn't that game? I'm bristling a little bit because people are really talking up this game. There is like people are talking.
we do? I know we do need to move on,
among the best of all time.
and that might be a little bit of hyperbole. Let's just.
It's like these guys worked on Bravely Default, and what I've played of Bravely Default seems far more impressive than the stuff I saw here.
Fair enough.
They're selling this for $60.
Okay, I know.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Like I said, I'm going to continue playing it. I will
I
talk
said I'd
about
save
it
my
again.
rant for tomorrow.
I will talk about it more once I've got to like 20 to 30 hours. How's that?
Yes.
All right, let's move on.
Also, you played a bunch of Persona.
I did, and I love Persona.
Okay.
Thanks for reminding me of a game that's on my fucking backlog
That
that I
other
need to go back
$60.
to. Brad.
Sorry.
Brian.
Yes, I
Hit
played
us.
some stuff.
Yes.
Chris Davis promised me that this was going to go smoothly. I've been playing a medley of VR games. I intended to only play one VR game.
Why?
Well, because that was the one I got on like the PSN summer sale.
Oh, okay.
And
Why is the person in the front seat of this car reading?
I'll tell you why. Because this is Dirt Rally in VR. I intended to play a lot more of this, but
Oh, are they your navigator?
Yeah. On kind of my one day to play games, I got kind of motion sick, so I had to stop playing, and I played a couple of other VR games, which I will talk about in a second. This is Dirt Rally VR, and if you ever played a real rally game, it is you're driving like across a country on a road while you have a guy sitting next to you with a notepad who's reading off every turn.
Yeah.
Because unlike, a racing game where you study a track, you learn a track, you practice on a track because you're just going around in a circle, rally's not like that. It's like crazy and unpredictable, in the way you progress is by having this navigator sit next to you, and literally you obviously can't hear it. He's calling out these turns.
That's not another player, right? That's an.
No, that was going to be one of my questions. If this game had 2-player support both in VR, that would be fucking amazing.
That'd be so hard though. Like,
Dude,
you'd have to have he would just be reading off the notes.
he would be
I guess.
reading.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine playing
like the keep talking or
and
everyone
nobody explodes?
Can you
or
imagine
whatever.
playing this game in VR multiplayer with Brad sitting in the passenger seat just screaming instructions at me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would be amazing.
and it's all coded too by what like real rally talk, right?
Yeah.
Like left turn 5, don't cut 80. And it's already it's super intense. I'm driving the slowest car on the most basic track right now, and I'm like clenching my balls just trying to stay on this
Clenching your
road.
balls?
Yes.
y'all
balls.
said I was weird about the things I do to my balls.
Okay, my butthole.
Brad.
I clench my balls and my butthole, just trying to stay on this road.
Yeah.
while all the while this dude is just shouting at me. But you have to have them on because you don't know what's coming. Now there are those little things up above you, but when you're in VR especially, you're so focused on the road that you're not really looking up, because remember in VR everything's bigger and like 3D and all around you. So even though it's hard to tell from this footage, it's real intense. And I've always been fond of kind of like these off-roady type racing games. That's why I kind of like like MotorStorm and even like Wipeout, which is sort of off-road because they're hovercrafts. But ones where you're just barely on the edge of completely losing control.
Sure.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that is by definition, what this sport's all about. And I find that really exciting. And it's the kind of thing where I really want to get good at this, but this is like way more of kind of a sim than I expected it to be, because I've played some of the Dirt games in the past, some Dirt 2, some Dirt 3, but those are more like kind of a traditional racing games where you're racing around in circles. There's some like traditional rally tracks, but they don't feel this intense. Like I don't remember in those games a guy yelling directions at me.
Holy shit, Brad. You just flew off a cliff.
Yeah. I was just kind of...
So you're playing this in VR, though?
I'm playing this in VR. When I was recording the footage, I was fine. And for about half an hour when I was playing this previously... let me tell you, this is the slowest car on the simplest track. No hairpin turns here. Wow. Like I tried to do like a modern, like... new like fucking Subaru Impreza or some shit on like a much harder track, and it was insane. It was insane. This is a front wheel drive car. This is like as easy as it gets, and I can barely maintain control here. But what was I saying? It's exciting in VR, but after about half an hour, I started to get like I started sweating, and it wasn't a cold sweat; it was like a hot sweat, and that's when I knew bad stuff was about to happen. And I had to lay down for a little bit.
So you were getting some motion sickness.
I was getting some motion sickness.
Now,
which I'm already kind of susceptible to it. Like, if I sit in the backseat of a car and look at anything besides outside,
dude,
I'm fucked.
That's a lot of people. You'd be surprised, Brad. I get that too. And that's a common thing about your inner ear. Feeling something different from what you're seeing, and it throws you off. Yeah,
so I guess
that's common.
My other question: so have you played any other just like basic racing games in VR, like that aren't like constantly jostling you around?
Well, yeah, no. I remember I played some Wipeout HD.
Oh, that's right.
Or what do they call it? The Wipeout collection in VR, and it was a similar thing where it was like fucking amazingly immersive and stuff, and I was loving it at first, but after about I think with Wipeout it was about an hour before I got really sick and I had to stop.
Yeah.
There I'm kind of like looking at the rearview mirror. It's so weird when you're in VR because it's like your rearview mirror is like a rearview mirror.
Yeah, it actually works.
You actually have to like look.
Yeah. Not that this is that kind of game. I think there might be some circuit racing in this game, but it's mostly this type of traditional rally racing where you're racing against a clock. There's no other cars that are going to pass you.
Yeah,
that's not what this kind of racing's like. But it was cool. But I had to stop playing. I will play more of it. I kind of went to show off some of this versus like maybe how I will be like in a few weeks.
Yeah,
and maybe I can show footage then when I'm a lot better. But yeah.
Cool.
So after I kind of took a break,
is this footage inverted? It seems like you're on the wrong side of the car.
Well, it's just the car I got. I'll eventually get to a car where I'm on the proper side, because there's a bunch of different cars and stuff. But so I took a break from this, and after I came back from my break, I decided not to play more of this because it made me sick. So I popped in a couple of other VR games that I had. One of them was Polybius.
What in the world is this?
So you're about to see some footage of something that's not going to make a lot of sense to you.
Did this make you motion sick?
No,
God
it didn't. No, this didn't. Because I don't know why, but it didn't. Some games don't.
None of our viewers watching us live have epilepsy.
No, okay, so there is like severe epileptic warnings.
Yeah, maybe you should have gave that to our viewers,
I like to say
Brad.
it now, like if you have any epilepsy, please stop watching this footage. They're so serious about it at the start of this game that it is like, it gives you two warnings. Like, first of all, you need to acknowledge that there's flashing stuff, and you don't just click on something. You have to move a cursor over to yes and click that, and then another one pops up. This also has flashing colors or whatever, and you have to move the cursor over to yes.
Then you have to solve an algebra problem.
Yeah, so they're very serious about epilepsy, and this is one where you're not going to get any sort of effect at all
Unless
without
it's
being
through-
in
yeah.
VR. And this looks like a bunch of nonsense, and that's fine because even in VR, it's a bunch of nonsense, but it is like the most exciting, thrilling stuff flying at your face and all around you. Like I had the kind of intense reaction that I didn't even get from Rez or some of the other crazier VR stuff that I had. This is the guy who makes Tempest and stuff. What's his
Sure.
name? Jordan Mechner.
Yeah.
He also did Space Giraffe. He's always done these like TX something. He's always done these sort of Tempest style. Jeff Minter, not Jordan Mechner. He's the Prince of Persia guy. Jeff Minter is the Tempest guy. He's even doing Tempest 4000.
Thank you, Deputy Dangle.
And
in chat.
they're both JMs. Yeah, this is. I don't know what else to say except this is a very intense, exciting game to play in VR. Very thumper, very res.
Yeah.
Once you're in it, like this is the best kind of VR stuff. I don't know how to describe it, but trust me, if you put on the headset, this is another level.
Those are some of the best VR experiences. Where it's
They
like, I don't know how to
don't
explain it.
anything to you. See this message here? It says, "Do what feels right." That's when you start the game. That's the message that pops up.
That's what she said.
Do what feels right, and it's so like insane. Like I still don't know what the rules are, but I got to a point where it felt right, and it gets absolutely crazy, and it's just an experience. Like just. Even if you play it for 5 minutes, you have to try this.
Is it still
I
on
would
sale?
love to.
No, I
Damn
don't think
it,
any
Brad.
of the stuff that I got is on sale anymore.
Why don't you tell me when you buy a bunch of PSVR games
But yeah,
on sale?
Jeff Minter, y'all played Space Giraffe? Not even.
I haven't. No.
Well, you played. You know what Tempest is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he's the Tempest guy, and this is just absolute insanity. You got to try it out.
But what is the last game you played, Brad?
The
in
last
VR?
game I played is a demo that I.
This is the
I've
game I
been wanting
didn't go
to try
play
it
at
for
E3
a
that I
while.
kind of wish I did.
Sure. This is Zone of the Enders 2 second runner in VR,
Yes.
which is all in first person, so you're in the map.
I'm so curious about that. It's like, what? How
Well,
does this even work?
here's the thing. I love Zone of the Enders.
Yes.
And
me too.
I was enjoying this demo, but I'm not entirely sure.
This is so weird.
Yeah, I'm kind of forgetting the controls here, but I kind of pick it up pretty quick. Oh man, I thought I told you to start later in this footage.
Don't worry about it. Just
The title of the video was start at 4 minutes, but whatever. Yeah, this is sort of like the first like hour of the game, but you can play in VR. This is the demo that's out now. It's a free demo. I recommend it if you have a PSVR.
Do you recommend skipping the first 4 minutes of the demo, bro?
No. But it's visually more. No.
Everybody just chill.
It's fine.
We get the idea.
It's only because I'm kind of fumbling with the controls. I'm trying to remember how to play Zone of the Enders too. But it's a little weird. I don't know how much VR is adding to this.
Well,
Versus I
game-
love Zone of the Enders 2.
But Zone of the Enders 2 is not a first-person game.
You're right, it's not. And you could see the little hologram of what Jehudi's doing on the right there.
What it would normally look
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
And you saw me. I did the grab and I was spinning him around. Showing him spinning around. And but I don't exactly know. Like it's cool. It's cool because everything seems real big. But you're doing a lot of stuff like grabs and melee. It's kind of hard to. The feedback you get from that maybe isn't as visceral as it is when you're like in third person, because it's a very fast paced kind of like a mech flight game, and it's cool.
It looks
It's
like
really
a different
cool.
kind of experience than what I was expecting.
It looks good. It looks good, and I love Zone of the Enders second runner. And I will probably pick this up because you don't even have to play this in VR. Like this is just a VR mode. It is a real ass game that they're re-releasing for the PS4 and HD. That has you can play through the whole thing in VR. The cutscenes aren't in VR.
Yeah, I'm about to say what is
I guess
happening right now.
they're pre-rendered
Yeah.
or whatever. But so it just kind of all of a sudden when you get to a cutscene, it looks like you're in a big movie theater. But
Yeah.
I mean that's fine. It still runs like kind of silky smooth even though it's in VR.
It's such a weird experiment too, like such a weird and random project too, considering like we'll probably never see another Zone of the Enders
No,
game.
you're right. We won't. And it's weird because this is Konami, and I feel like Konami could be doing so much more with their library. And it's weird
That's
that
an
Zone of the
understatement of the
Enders
fucking year.
is like the one thing that they're doing something with, which is strange. But It's cool. Like I'm gonna get this. I probably will play it in VR. This didn't really make me motion sick or anything.
This new version that they're releasing, you can play it outside of VR too, right? It's
Yes,
just the
correct.
original game.
Correct.
Because I would like to get that just because it's probably a really
I don't know
pretty
why they
version
didn't
of
do
it.
the first game. Now I do think the second game was a lot better than the first
Yeah,
game.
the first game is like a 4-hour. It's like it's a very short. It
Not
distinctly.
that short, but yeah, it goes
pretty
pretty
short.
Quick. It goes pretty quick. I mean, I spend more time with the Metal Gear Solid 2 demo for sure.
Yeah.
If you have PSVR, definitely try this. Or even if you've never really played Zone of the Enders, I guess the demo is only in VR, so you can't just play some Zone of the Enders to it if you want to download the demo. But I love this game, and the VR works pretty good, enough to where I will happily play through this whole game in VR.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's a glowing endorsement. That's
Well, assuming I'm in a place to play through Zone of the Enders 2 when it comes out, which I don't even know when this thing comes out, but it works good in VR. Here, I'm about to fight a boss.
I love it when mechs have capes.
Yes. Have you never played a Zone of the Enders game?
No, I haven't.
I do recommend this game. It's like a really, really good action game.
I'm probably
that
gonna.
is some of the best
I'll be
flight-
honest. I'm probably gonna buy it, and I'm probably not gonna play it immediately. So if you want to borrow it,
Sure.
Sounds like you.
it does sound like me.
Yeah,
It does.
and definitely, I would say I only recommend VR. Maybe if you have played the game before, I wouldn't
Bless you.
experience this game for the first time.
I've seen the
in
game
VR.
before, and it doesn't seem like something that I would
Even want to play in VR?
like. I feel like the only reason that they're going, oh, let's make a VR version of this is because it's a giant mech and it's piloted by a dude. So why don't we put you in the pilot seat? But the gameplay itself doesn't make it feel like it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. The gameplay itself doesn't evoke that feeling of like controlling a mech. It's like,
Well, I mean, I will say
it doesn't look like it anyway.
it is cool because you're in your cockpit
Yeah.
and looking
I mean,
up and seeing your mech. And
That's
stuff.
always cool. That
The sense of
effect-
scale.
That
It
effect
is-
has always been
yeah.
cool in every like space sim VR game that they've done. Even if the game isn't like that good, it's still really cool to be like, oh my god, I'm in space, you know, kind of thing.
Yep.
Yep.
Anything where you're in a pilot seat, I think works pretty well.
Yeah,
For sure.
Cockpits are cool.
And again, the sense of scale is nice, and yeah. Again,
I do. Really
I highly
like-
recommend this game. Maybe not for your first time. Don't play VR.
Faux show. All right, real quick. Chris Davis, can we get a time check real quick? How are we doing?
Hour.
All right. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to roll a video during the break. Check that out. When we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit about Jurassic World Evolution. We're going to talk a little Frostpunk, maybe some pit people, cover some news, answer some questions. Oh my god, we still got so much to do. Oh my god. So yeah, if you're watching us live, guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this short break.
Hey, you want to play Spyro? Here you go. Spyro.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show, everybody. If you're joining us, if you watched... Wait, Crispy, you can't...
No, that's staying in
That
for
didn't
the
mess
video.
up the recording.
It threw me
The
off.
recording that's still going.
Yeah.
All right, fine. You know what? Fuck it. Let's leave it all in. Welcome back from the break, everybody. If you're watching us live, we debuted a video and we made an announcement during the break, guys. The month of August is going to be devoted to the year of 1998.
20 years ago.
It is the 20-year anniversary of one of the greatest years in video games. And we are celebrating all month long in August, every day on our stream, 4pp.tv or twitch.tv/4player podcast. We are going to be streaming nothing but games that came out in 1998. This is also going to bleed over into podcasts. There's going to be lots of 1998 games discussions on the podcast. There might even be some multiplayer games being played on the stream with all of us.
Multiplayer night air, guys!
From 1998. It's going to be great. If you've been watching my Resident Evil retrospective, everyone always asks me, Nick, why are you skipping Resident Evil 2? It's because I didn't want to tell you about 1998 month, which is where I'll be playing Resident Evil 2, both scenarios, Leon A, Claire B, on the stream. So we've made this announcement. If you want, we put together a fun video. You can find it over at our YouTube channel and on Twitter and in Discord. Check it out, guys. We're very excited. We will get the full schedule up as soon as we have it finalized, and we will let everybody know what exactly we'll be playing, when we'll be playing it.
Are you familiar with Air, guys?
I'm familiar.
We'll be playing in our multiplayer night. It's a fighting game that includes...
Brett, I have Air, guys. It's like right up there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's got Final Fantasy VII characters in it.
Yeah. You can get Vincent's Turk outfit. You know,
It's got a police girl with a fucking yo-yo
when I was
as a
younger,
weapon.
my brother called it Eherges.
I used to call it Eherges,
Wow.
too.
So your brother butchered that name,
Yes.
you're saying.
Well, I mean, just mainly because I didn't know how to fucking pronounce it. There wasn't, like,
I don't think anybody knew.
necessarily internet to the extent there is now. So
Yet
I was
Brad-
just like,
yet-
Eherges.
Yet Brad makes fun of that one guy who said Suikoden.
No, well, yeah. I mean,
Busted.
It's more of just the sort of elitism of this guy. Oh, you mean weekly?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part of the story. Anyways, yeah. So if you haven't yet, check out the video. We're very excited to announce 1998 month. Hopefully you will join us all month long in the month of August. But with that said, let's move on. We have a couple more games to talk about. Like I mentioned, like 3 or
dozen.
4 more games to talk about. And like I said at the beginning of the show, I wanted to talk about Jurassic World Evolution. Chris Davis and I recorded a nice long 4-player plus. What?
Hello
damn
Games announces No Man's Sky next.
God damn it. Crispy, you gotta stop. Oh my god.
He's an auteur. He knows what he's doing.
He has the power.
We have Chris Davis on the couch. Crispy is manning the controls.
What's important is it didn't fade.
And everything's falling apart. Anyways, Chris Davis and I recorded a 4-player plus this week. We talked a lot about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, but surprisingly, I didn't expect this. Before we recorded this podcast, I decided I was going to give that new Jurassic World Evolution game a try. One, I have never in my life played a park sim. I've never touched...
That is slightly shocking.
Never touched
A little shocking.
Never touched Roller Coaster Tycoon or anything like it. I've seen, clips and stuff of it. I kind of knew what it was all about, but I've never played it. I played a demo of this game at E3, but it's not a very good game. Not an easy game to demo, right? You can't get much out of this game playing it in 10 minutes. And
Man.
wait, what, Brad?
No, it's a joke for later
Okay.
in this segment
God.
about Jurassic Park.
Oh my god.
About how you have a Dilophosaurus tattoo on your penis.
You know what? You guys have been waiting for this for so long, right? Been waiting for me to talk about a fucking Jurassic Park game, right?
Well, I mean, that's
And here it
you
is.
were leading him I can't, yada yada yada. You can't believe that you like this Jurassic Park game, but you love Jurassic Park.
So Nick,
No, I do
have
love
a
Jurassic
question
Park.
for you,
I
Nick.
love Jurassic Park. I do enjoy dinosaurs. I don't know anything about park sim games.
Fair
Okay,
enough,
so
fair
Nick,
enough.
since you love Jurassic Park so much,
Are you about to hit me with some trivia or something?
is this a story mode?
No,
to the
I mean,
game? So essentially, my
Slightly.
question was: does the game start with a park and you expand the park, or does the game start with nothing and you create a park?
so the game is set up with 5 islands, right? The 5 deaths, the same 5 islands I was talking about in the movies, right?
Even though there's 6 islands technically.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut up, Chris Davis. You're killing this. There's 5 islands, the 5 deaths, right? the game gives you the very basic layout of a park on the first island, just to give you something to work with.
Sure.
And from there, you're supposed to build it, maintain it, improve it, breed the dinosaurs.
Do you have to catch the dinosaurs?
You don't catch them. You breed you don't breed them. You
clone them.
Yes. You
Clone them and then life finds a way.
You manufacture.
Well, Brad, you, have
You
to
manufacture
you
them
jizz
in
into the cup, and then the dinosaur comes back.
Oh my god!
Yeah, the missing DNA.
I can already see.
Man, fuck your frog DNA.
Please, someone Photoshop Nick's face on a
No,
dinosaur.
no. God, I can already see this conversation.
already
doing
happened.
great.
Dinosaur
All right.
love child.
Just so you know, I've been looking forward to talking about this game all week long.
Sorry. What dinosaur is that?
Struthiomimus, I think is what it's called.
I believe so, yes.
It's crazy.
I mean, first of all, I know because I'm playing the game and it tells you literally
Oh.
facts about the names and the facts about all the dinosaurs.
Dino DNA.
Dino, he's in the game.
Really?
Dino DNA. I mean, like he's like you have a list of characters and stuff. Like, first of all, the entire game is built around building and maintaining a park, but they have characters from the movies that kind of
Sure.
like guide you through it and like teach you how the game works.
Yeah,
and,
it
like
makes
talk
With
to you
some
about
of their
stuff.
actual voices.
Yeah, with some of their actual voices,
Some.
like Jeff Goldblum is Ian Malcolm.
Yeah, I did
and
know
he's
that,
he's
yeah.
pretty.
Is he all
He's
very
narrating
Jeff
the entire
Goldblum-y?
thing.
Very Jeff Goldblum-y, yes. They have Bryce Dallas Howard from Jurassic World. They have Chris Pratt's likeness, but someone who sounds nothing like Chris
They
Pratt. at
didn't
all.
have Chris Pratt
He's so
money.
Hollywood now.
They do not have Chris Pratt money when they were making this game, but that's neither here nor there.
And they had BD Wong money, though.
They do.
Well,
have
I mean, it's
no.
BD
I don't
Wong.
think that's BD Wong either.
No, it was.
It was
It is.
interesting.
Chris Davis, do you have $10?
No.
Oh,
Not on
Chris doesn't even have BD Wong money.
God damn it, guys!
Sorry, continue.
I started playing this game just to kind of get some background on it before we talked about, because I wanted to tie it in with our conversation about Fallen Kingdom on Monday. Turns out I started playing this and I played it for like 3 hours and I was like, what's going
A
on?
park sim will do that to you, man. I'm telling you.
But there's something very specific that I think is pretty magical about this park sim game.
Wait,
Like,
Nick, can you make that path in the shape of a penis?
Yes.
oh my god, guys!
It's a serious question.
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you.
You totally can.
You can make a lake in the shape of a penis. You can do that with trees and shrubs and
Okay, I
whatever.
was,
you
I was
want.
just curious. So, Nick, how's your experience been so far with this park?
It's so great. I'm having so much fun with this game.
Has your park open to the public?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, I think it's open to the public from the beginning. You just have very few guests. The more you improve the park,
Can
the
I
more
start
guests.
the game and go, this is a bad idea. I'm not going to let the public in.
Then you can go up to the tram and you can turn off access and nobody will come to the park.
I think I'm done with this conversation.
The great thing about this game is that it's very, very user friendly. This is almost baby's first park game
Thanks.
in a way. I'm not saying to put it down.
Well, it's actually interesting because, like, I don't play a lot of park sims, but obviously this Jurassic Park is such a perfect scenario for a park sim game. So this seems like a perfect introduction into park
It
sims.
is. I mean,
I've heard like park sim snobs or whatever
Nick,
kind of disappointed.
I do
by
have serious questions
some
about
of the
this game.
features.
Is the park more like Jurassic Park or Jurassic World?
This is Jurassic
And-
World.
Well,
This is
no,
Jurassic
so
World.
my question: are the guests on jeeps that are on a track, or are they in the ball thing?
No, I mean you can eventually set up the gyrospheres where you can like when you start like literally like you kind of have that main road right there with a few things along it, like the main things where you research the dinosaurs. You send expeditions all around the world where they find fossils, they bring back. You can research the fossils, which every time you bring back a fossil, it improves the genome. The genome, which is like a percentage based thing. So if you have the genome up to like 40%, the dinosaur might not live very long. It might have, it might be
Susceptible to
have
fucked
personality quirks. Doesn't ever come out fucked
Might
up.
be susceptible to diseases.
Okay,
things
Yeah.
like that.
I see.
Yeah.
So as you find more fossils, you improve the genome, and eventually you can get like a perfect strand, and it will be like the ideal dinosaur, right?
And also the greater the genome, the higher the rating for that dinosaur, and the more guests you will attract.
Yeah,
to
so
the
you're
park.
literally trying to attract guests to the park at per, as you would any other like park sim game, but you're doing it primarily through improving the safety and security of the park, breeding new dinosaurs. There's at least 40 species of dinosaurs in this game.
More serious questions, because Chris Davis mentioned this is a more accessible park game.
Yes.
Do you have to spend time caring about like bathrooms and
Yes.
food and
Well, okay,
concessions
yes.
and stuff
Well,
like that?
Kinda.
I would recommend it. So like, my park was sitting at like 2 out of 5 stars for a while, right? And then I finally discovered like you can go.
People were shitting on the.
Well,
trail.
no, but you can go into like the management view of the park
And see
you
what
can,
the people's
you can
opinions
literally
are.
see based on the way you've built the park where the demand is highest for concessions or gift shops, and then you can build things in those locations which will draw more people to it, and then more people will see the dinosaurs. People will be happier. The park rating goes up. Also, all the time, all the while you're doing all this stuff, you kind of have to be paying attention to the happiness and the health of all the individual dinosaurs. You have to make sure you're restocking all of the like feeding them on a regular basis.
You're not concerned with necessarily with the happiness of your guests, but the
Well, you
dinosaurs
are,
your main
but like
focus.
more like if you breed a certain like all the different dinosaurs have different like social elements, right? So like for instance, I built a carnivore enclosure when I finally got the ability to breed a carnivore, and I started breeding them, and I had 3. And then I noticed their sociability level was very low. Once I hit 3, they started like fighting with each other, and one of them killed the other one. And then when there were 2, they were like, "All right, I'm cool." And I think also that kind of might tie into like the size of the enclosure too, because I like that the smaller it is,
it's the size of the enclosure, it's the amount of foliage that's in there, access to water and food. There's a number of factors.
I also noticed at one point I was getting like a notice saying the health of one of your dinosaurs is low, and I looked over and 2 of my carnivores where health was going consistently down. I was like, what the hell? So you can actually zoom in on individual dinosaurs, and it will tell you like what's going on with them at that particular moment. And it was like they're dehydrated. I was like, what the fuck? What do I do about this? And then I realized I didn't put a single like pond or lake or anything in my enclosure.
Don't forget to water your dinosaurs.
So I had to fucking build a lake. And suddenly they were healthy again.
So if they're unhealthy, do you need to send a guy in there who will leave the gate open behind him to look for the dinosaur?
So that's a good question. Let me ask.
So right now there is actually a
does-
dinosaur breaking out in the footage right now.
So
It's
like,
not a carnivore.
The idea is inevitably shit's gonna go wrong. I mean, isn't that
Something is
what the fuck, Crispy?
crispy. God, you're killing me.
Is the idea that you inevitably want shit to go wrong?
You don't want something to go wrong, but something
No.
is inevitably going to go
Okay.
wthere's just too much stuff to manage at any given time to.
But
like,
that being
prevent
said,
this from
sometimes the
happening.
game tells you to have things go wrong.
because
What?
it tells you especially early on. They want
So there's 3 factions in the game.
Yeah.
There's your scientists, there's your security personnel,
Do they not like
and
each
then
other?
there's your, I guess, the commercial.
the first
division.
island is very much like a tutorial. So they want
Yeah.
you they tell you to like
Okay.
break a dinosaur out so they can test your response ability.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
you have to trigger a helicopter to fly over, tranquilize the dinosaur, and then move it back into the enclosure, and then send a ranger over to fix the fences. There's also different kinds of fences you can make, whether it's like a
Did
regular.
one of your guys write 5 million lines of code that keeping the whole park running?
No. That shit doesn't happen. They've
Well-
closed all those loopholes, but instead
Okay.
like. So I bred like I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's like a Pachycephalosaurus, the ones with like the butt heads against stuff, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
The
And I
friar
bred
tuck.
one, and I didn't, but I noticed I didn't notice actually that its social skills were like very high. It needs friends. So its comfort level
It
went
needs a
down.
pack.
It needs to be happy, right?
Yeah.
The moment you make any dinosaur unhappy, it's instinctually I'm gonna try and break out of the park.
Sure.
So like it started ramming its head against the gate, and this is what actually happened in my footage here. It rammed through the gate, and it was out in the enclosure. Guests start panicking, and I have to focus on fixing the fence before the other dinosaurs find their way out, and
Do you ever
sending a
get
slave to
to,
train.
you get to see guests get eaten?
Yeah, absolutely. But this particular dinosaur
It's
was
like a Pokedex to Nick's heart.
no, it is. It is. That's like, I know I'm getting fucking giddy and excited here, but like, collecting all the dinosaurs is half the fun. Not only because you're learning about the dinosaurs the entire time, but like as you can see, you can zoom in and you can watch them, and like
Can you like snipe them from a helicopter?
You
and
can.
shit?
Yes.
You can. Like you can drive the jeeps around. You can get in the helicopter and actually like pilot it manually. You can tranquilize them from the.
You send in helicopters to tranquilize dinosaurs and transport them, or sell them if you want.
Yeah.
And you use the jeeps, the ranger teams, to go and heal them, or like refill food or things like that, or do repairs.
So like, and so far, by the way, and this is like
I would not recommend going.
So it's an
into the-
evacuation center.
Oh,
so
shit.
whenever a dinosaur breaks out, you can unlock it and sound an alarm, so guests will flock to it. So they'll run inside of it for safety. That's more for like if there's like a T-Rex roaming, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Not this little herbivore who
Raptors
just like
can get in
knocking
there.
people on their ass. but it's just and like the entire time you're doing research and you're
You
like,
sick fuck.
Well, the thing is, if a guest
just
gets
want this
injured or
dude to fuck
killed,
someone up.
you have to pay like legal fees, and your
No,
park
no.
suffers
They just signed a
from-
disclaimer when they come in the park. Fuck those
but
people.
like
no.
so right here, this helicopter is trying to trank this thing and it can't hit shit. You
So
can
you're
actually
taking control. Like I'm taking the wheel.
no, you can actually do research to improve.
Their
You spend
aim
money
and
to
stuff.
improve their accuracy, their reload speed, all that stuff.
So you just have them spend all day shooting at dinosaurs to get better at it?
more or less.
Or again, you can do it yourself.
Yeah, and also, oh god, I just had it slang. I had a thought and I completely fucking lost it.
Dinosaurs escaping, herbivore, the people are in the bunkers.
I don't know. I
big
can't remember what I had, but like every single aspect of this park is manageable. This is from Frontier. These are the guys that did Planet Coaster, as Chris Davis said. Like they have a pretty good reputation for these kinds of games, and like I'm consistently shocked by how much stuff you have to take into consideration. You have to have a certain amount of power output. You have to be able to link all of the power together with like, poles and wires and shit. Like I got to the point where like these dinosaurs kept breaking out of my herbivore thing. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna electrify these fucking fences. So I had to tear the fences down and then build them back up real fast with electrified fences and then make sure I had power to the fences.
No, you don't have to tear them down. You can just replace them.
God damn it.
You can just click the replace option on there, and it replaces it automatically.
Shit. Well, I'm here playing.
And it's got dinosaurs running free. Oh, I'm going to build the fence.
Like I said, I don't want to spend too much time talking about it. I will say this: what
like,
I love about this game, I've become so addicted to it. I'm having so much fun with it. But like doing like the research to like improve the genomes, and like you can eventually you can actually manipulate the DNA before you manufacture one, so you can actually change what their like skin tone is. You
Give
can
it a bigger
You
penis.
Can you give them feathers?
I don't. There's things I haven't unlocked.
More
There's a lot of cosmetic options. You can also just modify aggression skills or defensive abilities. Their resistance to diseases, things like that.
And
You
it
can do a
all
lot.
plays into their personality in the park and how they're going to react to other certain things and everything. It's kind of like just a big ecosystem. And there's so much that I haven't touched yet. And like I have 6 dinosaur species I think right now, and there's like 43.
Oh, wow.
And like watching them
Is
all.
there
just,
one you're gunning for?
Not really.
I don't know if you've seen the list. And you're like,
T-Rex.
I really want-
I was actually kind of bummed. I asked Chris Davis.
We have a T-Rex.
I asked Chris Davis, or that's actually the name of an achievement. I asked Chris Davis earlier if they had aquatic dinosaurs, like if you could like build a huge aquarium and put like a mosasaur in there.
Yeah, there's
like,
no mosasaur,
That's
and
kind of-
there's
that's
no.
Fuck is
That's
a
kind of
mosasaur?
pterodactyls.
Have you seen Jurassic World?
Yeah.
The big fish dinosaur, the big giant like
That's
thing
what that
they
thing's
feed.
called?
Yeah.
It's a mosasaur. Like that's kind of the biggest disappointment
Brad,
so
it's
far.
so big it parts
I thought
the
that
water
was called
as it swims.
sea monster.
I mean, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if that was DLC later on, though.
Sure. That's
Technically,
true.
they could
I mean,
DLC
this
any
game is
dinosaur.
actually doing pretty well. It sold 1 million copies. on
As
Steam.
of today, it hit 1 million copies.
I won't be happy in it until it sells 65 million copies.
God damn it, Nolan. Anyways, we can move on. I just wanted to get this out there because I'm really shocked at how much I'm enjoying this game. Like it's
was it
quickly.
better in the movie?
I mean, that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it on 4Player Plus this week. Is
I want
the
you to-
movie continues to have problems, and this is actually a very weird tie-in because this tie-in, thematically speaking, is nothing like this movie that just came out. This is more like the first Jurassic World because it's
Yeah.
like an actual park.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really enjoying it. It's quickly kind of becoming one of my favorite games I've played this year, just because I'm so addicted to it.
I want you to play some more of it and come back next week, and I want you at least get onto a second or even third island.
I'm already. I have the ability to go to 2 more islands. and I haven't
You've
left this
talked
island.
about so little of this game, actually.
Good.
You haven't
I'm-
even talked about the faction dynamics, the progression system, like fucking storms and having
Yeah,
to deal
all
with
the different
sabotage.
islands.
Join
and-
the Dennis Nedry.
No, the different islands introduce like different things you have to deal with, like different weather types, and also like you said, there's sabotage. Like there's characters that will actually sabotage things.
Is there an achievement called I Know This?
Can you ban
Probably not.
certain items like food and shaving cream cans
No.
from the island?
But you can sell them.
But you know what,
Self-shaving
guys?
cream
Didn't someone make
Yes.
a game based on like the hacking from
Jeff Goldblum was in this
I
game.
think so.
Jurassic
Yeah,
Game,
it was
remember?
it was an indie game years ago.
I just want to say, guys, like this is.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
this
Like, I
game
really
is
am.
Fucking
This is really
fabulous
good.
game.
I-
And as
I
someone who
played
just
through-
like I just like going into like zooming down into the enclosures and just watching the dinosaurs because they like if you release like
Let me
I
ask you
released
something. Does this guy take big shits?
I don't know they haven't shit yet.
Okay.
Do they shit?
You don't see shit. Damn
So like when you're playing this game, you're like just that gif of Sam Neill taking off his sunglasses on repeat.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I gotcha.
It's pretty magical, guys. That's all I want to say. It's
I've
pretty
beaten
fucking
4 of
magical.
the 5 main islands. The 5th island is Isla Sorna.
Yeah.
Now from
is
the
the
Lost
Lost
World.
World.
Yeah.
And that one
Do you build a
completely turns
cage?
the formula on its head, because instead of building a park out with no dinosaurs or like some small packs with some small ones, yeah, the entire island is populated with dinosaurs, and you have to build a park out into that.
So it's like
Oh.
kicks, where you're like.
So it's like reverse.
Yeah, and
That's
it's just fucking mind.
you ever play
boggling.
G's ball, Jez ball,
No.
kicks,
No.
And then you have
where like the things are moving around like a rectangle, and you're trying to like draw lines to like make it smaller and smaller and smaller without hitting the ball. Jez ball?
No.
Yeah.
I haven't.
No, Windows 95. Anyone?
Yep, I got you.
and
That's
also
what it's like. You're just trying to build fences while all these dinosaurs are running around.
and you can build an Isla Nublar, and that's your 100% sandbox level. You can build it however you damn well please.
See, this is so cool, man.
All right,
I'm really digging
Can
it.
Can I talk about a game that's kind of
Yes,
similar?
I would
please
like to hear
do.
you talk about a game that is
So
similar.
there's this new game I've been playing. I can't believe no one told me about it before.
No, you're right. I would never.
This is
do
our
that to
running
someone.
joke
I
this
would
year.
never do that to someone.
I'm pretty sure I took a picture of your tweet from earlier.
No.
So I started playing Frostpunk, and it had kind of been on my
games.
on my list to play for a while. But finally, the other day, I was trying to play actually Fallout New Vegas, but it kept like doing some weird thing. Which, if anybody knows the solution to fixing it, I'd like to know. Where it just randomly minimizes. It seems like I don't know. But anyway,
I've not had that.
so I stopped playing it and I started playing Frostpunk. So we have talked about Frostpunk on the show before, and conceptually it sounded interesting, but I was kind of skeptical. I don't know. I will say, as soon as I started playing it, I fucking like my stream the other day. I decided, I played so much Fallout and it's been freaking out on me. Let me play Frostpunk. Started at 8 o'clock. What felt like 5 minutes later, it was like 12:30. Just because I was just fucking engrossed with this game.
It's amazing how this shit gets.
And the thing about it isn't so much the like having to survive and the the building up of you have to worry about the weather and stuff. For me, it's all the decisions you have to make.
Yeah.
Where it's constantly like, okay, I have the opportunity to bring in a new law. Do I want to make people eat soup, which makes them less happy because they don't get as much like meat in their food, or do I want to fill that meat with sawdust so it lasts longer?
I did the
like
sawdust.
decisions like that.
I think it's making people sick though.
Yeah, no. So the thing is, the soup will make people less happy.
You don't say.
The sawdust food won't make them less happy, but they're more prone to getting sick. Do I want to have children work in the workforce, or do I want to like not do that and let them run free and play?
Yes, you do.
Do I want to like
It's
I
a
don't
hard
know.
world.
Yeah, there's every decision I come across is like, ooh, this is interesting. What do I want to do? And so do I want to like feed the sick extra food or not, or say fuck them? So
What kind of leader have you been?
so I've been trying to. Obviously, if you see at the bottom where this footage starts, hope is pretty low, but discontent is also low. People aren't like angry; they're just not super hopeful for the future, which is honestly not a bad place to be.
If your hope is low, you've been doing some morally questionable stuff, Nolan.
So what happened?
How much
was-
cannibalism have you been doing?
No cannibalism. Another one was when people die. Do I put their bodies in a big pile in the snow?
Definitely do the pile.
Or do I bury them in like a cemetery? I ended
do
up
you
doing the
eat
pile, which
'Cause they get their organs.
because later on you can harvest their frozen organs for sick people, which was pretty good. But if you do the cemetery, then
Wait, is that how that works?
yes, sure, why not?
Science.
Or if you do the cemetery, then people can go and like kind of pay their respects at the cemetery,
Yeah,
and
hope
hope will
goes up.
rise, whatever.
Fuck hope.
So Brad, did you go with the maintain order route or the faith route?
I didn't.
You didn't get that far?
No, because I haven't played this game in
Oh, well,
forever.
Jesus, Brad. Come on, man.
But
It's a
I
good
know
game.
about it.
He had a baby.
But so anyway, I know it's fine.
I would go the order way.
So, and that's what I wanted to do, but when I was casting the other day, everyone in chat said everyone does order, not faith, and I was like, you know what, let me do faith then, because everyone's been doing order.
Faith can get pretty dark. Too.
So yeah, so now like my game's completely changed, and like the town hasn't been like taken over by like a religious cult, but it kind of has. Like every night they go through the streets with like a big cross, like chanting, but it does
just
raise
like when
hope.
Cersei in Game of Thrones,
It
she didn't know what she was doing.
It does raise hope. But yeah, so honestly, like the addictive thing is kind of it's one of those scenarios where you have a workshop that's constantly researching new technologies and new things, and every time they finish researching, it's like there's 14 things I want them to do next, and I can't. I have to choose one. Like, which one is the next one? And it's always this balance of, okay, well, you know what? I'm starting to run low on coal, and my resources that are right by the town are low, so I probably need to research the bigger facility that can start mining coal from like deeper,
The wall.
like the wall or something like that. Yeah. But you know what? Also, you know, I need to really get an infirmary going, because at one point I had like fucking 60 sick people.
Oh my
with
God.
yeah, dude, I was in a bad place, and like 10 of them were gravely ill. I had like 20 people that had some sort of amputation going on.
You haven't been reloading though, right?
No, I've not reloaded a single time.
Yeah, because I hear that's not the good way to play this. Game.
So actually, you know what, Brad? And one regret for not reloading is why my hope is so low there. What happened was I had made a promise to do something, and I completed it. But then right before the timer ran out, I built a new building that caused me to not complete that promise. Does that make sense? Like, there are certain things that people will be like, oh, we're unhappy. What are you going to do about it? Oh, I'm either going to build a new medical facility, or in X amount of time, I will have cured half of the sick people. Those are the two things that will make everyone happy. And if you choose one and fail it, they're pretty fucking upset.
Yeah.
And what had happened was I had met a goal to either have everyone's housing be at least this comfort level. And as soon as it was about to finish, I accidentally built a new house, which caused me to not meet that requirement. So my hope went down a shit ton,
goofed.
and I was so mad. No one even fucking lived in it yet. Like, that was... But anyway. So yeah, I might, at the end of this footage, because I ended up playing for like half an hour and then even more afterwards, I kind of got to a bad place because a huge cold front came in, like fucking huge, and like the temperature dropped so fucking low. And I did do some research to make certain facilities have heaters built into them, but it only will go so far. And it also, when you turn them on, it starts using a lot of coal. And one of the really cool things about this game that I love, that more styles of this game need, is at the top you can see all of your resources. I know it's kind of small, but you have like coal and wood and steel and food, raw food, and then processed food. And if you there's an economy, actually it's this screen right here, there's the economy screen, and you can see everything. And if you click on the coal tab, it will show you, this is how much coal you produce a day, this is how much you consume. If the consumption is greater than the production, it's red and it's bad. You're using way too much coal. You need to produce more or consume less. Same with food. And so it really gives you in anything. If you click any button, if you make one more person work at that coal facility, it will immediately show that reflection. And so it's really nice because you can do that all while it's paused. You can stop the progression of time, start fucking around things. Okay, what if I assign this guy here? What if I do this? What if I do this? And it will show you those things. I'm like, all right, I'm good with that. Unpause, continue, and then you progress with the game. What I was just showing on that other screen was scouts. So you're in this, it's post-apocalyptic, I guess. The world's frozen over, global warming. And so you have scouts that are going out to find people and resources. And sometimes when they find people, I'm like, we don't have a whole lot of food, and so if I bring 30 people back to my place, we're not going to be in the best place we could be. Maybe leave those people there. Maybe don't bring them back with you, and they can die. But there's like tough decisions you have to make. There's tough decisions because
I kept waiting for him to say that we're just gonna fucking cannibalize.
You gotta hope meter.
I don't think cannibalizing is an
lose.
option in this game, to my knowledge, at least. But yeah, so like Brad was saying, if hope drops to 0, game over. And right before my stream ended the other day, something happened that caused hope to go down, and I had a fucking sliver of hope left. A fucking sliver. And then I immediately turned it around. I did a bunch of things. Like I said, that's when I went.
Faith bullshit.
That's when I went with the faith. So I have a couple of churches every other day. They have a big prayer ceremony that however many people are in their circle of the church, hope will go up for those people.
Prayer's going to keep you warm. Sure.
Order's not going to keep you warm either.
Yeah, put all the rabble-rousers in prison.
But no, so actually there's a new thing that I'm about to unlock, probably the next thing I get on my my laws, that if people start acting inorderly, you can send these faith keepers after them to punish them in the streets, I guess.
Like the Inquisition?
Kind of. Not like that. You don't kill them. You
Like the
you
sparrows?
definitely you just kind of kind of you just you beat him up a little bit, like, hey buddy, get in line.
Gotcha.
Which actually raises hope. But there's a risk of them being injured, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of other things you can do. You can build like a fucking like a bar, like a pub for people to go to after work. And it's funny because it's hard to tell because I'm so zoomed out. You can zoom in a little more, not as much as Jurassic World.
Yeah.
But you can zoom in. So you can see right now. Look, my coal's negative. If I don't do something, I'm fucked. Like I won't last the night. Almost, but yeah. So you can have people go there, and it's funny because like after the working day, whistle blows like working day's done, and then people start going places, going home, whatever. You'll see like a list of people that are like, oh, going to the pub, or there's like a fight club, not a fight club, like a fight, like a ring.
It's like an underground boxing ring. Or
It's
something?
not underground. It's like for fun. Like, hey, if you want to go and fight to like work off stress, go for it. And so people will go to that for attractions. I don't know. There's a lot of things you can do that try and build hope. And so that one doesn't build hope; it just lowers discontent. And so yeah, so there's this view of like the heat, heat scale and whatever. All of the as long as you're in that left half of the colors, the red, the orange, or the like brightest blue, you're fine. Anything outside of that's when things start to get a little to the point where what happened was at the end of my footage. Or maybe it might have been after I cut the footage, but that cold front hit, and it got to like -60
Jesus.
Celsius.
That is very cold.
Yes, and so if you don't, there are certain buildings that even though I had the heaters on, they were still too cold to work, which means people don't go to them to do their jobs. So unless I'm able to bring up that temperature, like all of a sudden that resource is no longer making me anything. And so I had to end up putting my generator in the middle of town into overdrive, which will make every building in a certain area,
That's fucking cool.
will go up by one level of warmth. But it uses coal at a much higher rate, and it will build up this meter that if that meter hits the top, the generator explodes. So you have to
Damn.
maintain that.
But you know what? It explodes. But you know what? It'd be hot.
It would be warm for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you freeze it.
I like
Short-sighted.
the look of this
so
game,
is
too.
there-
It's
Short-sighted
such a
but
nice
effective.
looking game.
Yeah.
Is there a victory condition to this game?
It's
I
at the end of so many days,
Yeah.
some stuff happens.
I'm sure if you
Okay.
survive
It is
long
a
enough.
So there are story events.
yes.
Yeah, no, yeah, certain beats happen. And what I was saying earlier, when my hope dropped to that level, that was when a certain beat in time happened.
Okay.
Like this thing hit, hope dropped a shit ton. There's nothing you can do about it. It's going to happen. But thankfully, I had just a sliver left, and I was able to hold on.
And I believe there's
Okay.
a few different campaigns that are much different scenarios than just this.
Mhm.
Like, yeah.
Okay, I was under the impression this was all sandbox.
No.
No.
But yeah, so like I said, I'm really enjoying this. I'm glad Brad brought it up a while back. I was on the fence about it, but I'm definitely been enjoying my time with it. It's the constant decisions you have to make. Of what I'm going to do next, where I'm going to spend my resources.
It's crazy how that gets its hooks in you.
Oh yeah, no, and like it just those decisions I've been making has only been one of the things that's been my biggest driver. I will say I made an early decision and I immediately regretted that decision, but I didn't reload.
Child labor?
Child labor. If you play this game, do not do child labor.
Why not?
Just don't, because children can only they can only work in either food places, so like the building that turns raw food into processed food,
Yeah.
or the huts that just kind of produce food, like it's like almost like a garden, a greenhouse.
Yeah.
Those are the only two places they can work. They can go to like a pile of coal and pick it up and bring it back, but as soon as those resources are gone, that's all they can't do anything.
Well, you need those things.
But they can't work in like one of the shops that collects wood off the ground, or they can't work in any of those shops. Is the thing.
Yeah, but in my game, I didn't do child labor, and they're not even like people you can do anything with. They just give you a bonus to your sick places.
I thought they could become apprentices for engineers or for workers.
Or that. But all it is like a bonus. They're not actual.
I would rather have them
workers.
be a bonus to my guys than I have like 12 children that are just sitting around doing nothing.
Fucking useless kids.
Right?
Put them to work.
Right? So
Throw them
yeah.
in the coal mine.
But anyway, and so one of the things was, you can see at the bottom there's actually a logo behind my blinking hope, which you see has gone up since this footage
Damn,
started.
that one building's hot.
That is my amputated people. So I just recently got a factory, and they've started building prosthetic limbs. So it takes a decent amount of resources, but they can build a prosthetic limb that will help that person, so they can put that person back to work. Because for the longest time, I had 21 people that had an amputated limb, which means they were just sitting around doing nothing because they couldn't
amputated
work.
from like what? From like
Useless.
Getting ill. If they work in a building that it's too cold, they'll get frostbite.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Or if they get gravely ill, they will either die, or they'll have to amputate a part of that body to prevent them from dying. So in the meantime, they are just eating food. Oh, I did sign a law that people who are in certain homes, like they are or a skill, I can't remember what, they eat half as much food.
Yeah.
So the people who aren't doing anything all day, they do eat less food because I mean they're not expending energy.
Hate the that when you zoom out too far, it goes to the world.
Yeah, that does kind of suck because if you accidentally zoom out,
Are you
one
ever
time,
moving
levels.
to like completely different like
To my
cities and
knowledge,
stuff, or-
no.
No.
This is just the one place you found that has this generator.
But you're venturing out to collect resources.
So yeah,
and
you're
stuff?
sending
And
scout troops
other
out
stuff.
to collect resources and people, and there are these steam core things, which are it's a very valuable resource that is needed to build the bigger facilities. Anything that sits on the ground that collects coal from the ground or wood from the wall of this ice like structure,
The automatons, right?
or automatons, and then you'll notice there's one kind of walking around, which is like I found him. I just found him out in the world, and it's a giant robot that I can have man a facility.
Yeah.
Now that facility will only run at 60% efficiency, but it will run around the clock. And the automaton doesn't need like food or anything, so I mean it will have to go and refuel every once in a while, so it'll stop work.
Where
But
does it refuel?
I don't know how it works.
I just got an automaton.
I think it just
when I
uses
stopped
coal,
playing.
maybe. I don't know exactly. I've just been letting him go. To build those, you do need. So here's one of the processions that happened this night, where the people go through the town.
Is this based on the faith?
Yes,
stuff?
because this is actually just recently I got this ability, and so actually it does build up hope. People get happier. That gives them something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And so you'll notice my hope's no longer blinking red. I'm in a good spot. My discontent's extremely low.
Nice.
People are starving.
No, people aren't starving. No one's starving right now. I did get to a point. So, like I said,
Right now.
if you go and watch my stream from the other day, I got to a bad place. Like there were like 58 people were starving, like 60 people were sick, like 20 were great. It was a bad spot. But I built as soon as I built a couple of infirmaries that do a very good job of healing people. I staffed them with some quality engineers. People started turning around. I built a couple of more hunters' huts, which send workers out during the evening hours. So from like 10 p.m. until like 8 a.m. they go out and they find food somehow, and they bring it back. As soon as I just get a couple of things, all of a sudden things turned around and my city was in a good spot. So yeah, I've been really enjoying this. I know I'm probably gonna fail before I get to like an end scenario. I probably will fail, but I might restart with some of the more knowledge I have now about the better ways to be more efficient, and I probably should put a bigger focus on getting some coal things going earlier on, so I can make my generator be able to produce more heat by the time this one day I think it's like a day and a half from now. I can see the little blue icon. There's an icon that says like, oh, in 2 days the weather's gonna go down by 2 levels or something like that. But yeah, so yeah, really fucking good game.
Yeah, Frostpunk.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so Chris Davis.
Yes, sir. 5 minutes.
You seem giddy.
I just
All
want to
right,
talk
I'm
about
gonna
this
time you
game.
now. Go.
This has actually been some of the most fun I've
I
had this year.
legit don't know if we're gonna have time for these. Let's go.
457.
In fact, I played and beat this
455.
game on the feed Saturday night.
I saw
It is
that.
Danger Zone 2. It is the sequel to Danger Zone from Three Fields Entertainment. Three Fields is former Criterion devs on a road towards making a full-on Burnout game. This is... Last year, Danger Zone was kind of bad.
Kinda. I mean,
It was
if
kind of
anybody remembers from last year, we were talking about the first game. It was the game that looked like a kind of a cheaper version of Burnout that took place almost entirely in like a fucking parking garage.
Yeah.
Did you bust out your Dreamcast for this?
No, this is Steam. This
Hey,
is
I'll
PC.
give it points.
Everything maxed.
It's officially
settings.
outside. There's variety.
So
in the
it's now
environments. There's
outdoors. It's the same exact concept. It's all crash mode. The difference is number one, there's a bunch more cars to choose from now that you can drive.
You do a lot more driving before.
You do a lot more driving before, and they are more focused on kind of like the puzzles of like Crash Mode, where you're figuring out what the traffic flow is and what's the best angle to attack. But the big thing about this game is that it's really built more around Burnout Revenge, in which there is a heavy emphasis on traffic checking, in which you're driving, you're hitting cars into other cars and causing massive wrecks. And the physics they put into this game, they're kind of fucking hilarious, because you are just shoving cars all over the fucking road.
You didn't have control over that in Burnout Revenge, right? The direction you were hit.
The aftertouch?
Yeah, aftertouch you did.
Yeah, aftertouch.
In this game, when you hit a car from behind, you check it. You knock them into other vehicles and stuff, right?
It's more physics based in a way.
No, you can steer.
No, don't skip ahead.
Chris David.
Oh,
Didn't he?
Yes.
Like he did. Like because I kind of curated this.
So
I show off 5 levels in this footage. The second one here, this is where I had the most fun in the game. When you had the big rig, which you're just driving along and you are destroying everything in your fucking path.
I do like. Why is it like every time you touch another car, it like suddenly starts going?
That's
like,
what the physics are in this game, and it's so much fun.
It's not just a physics; it's the mechanic. You can actually control the direction you hit a car.
Just look at
That
this
is
shit.
ridiculous.
And it's
That
so
is
good.
so ridiculous. It is.
So you have your primary objective, which is to get to the end and activate your Smash Breaker, which activates after you hit a certain amount of cars. You also have a sub-objective in the run-up, in which you have to do certain things like, hit every car that has a boat that's transporting a boat, or things like that. I fucking landed on this other.
That was
fucking
funny.
How long did it
At
take you to
least then
finish this
start
game?
driving.
Yeah, and then you can, when you get to the end zone, you find more Smash Breaker icons and the Grand Slam icons, which get you more money.
Were they not concerned with? Was the goal here wasn't to make the physics realistic?
No.
I assume.
No, it was not at all. It's meant to be like classic Burnout with the
Arcade.
Crash mode.
Is that was what it was like in classic
No.
like Burnout Revenge?
Well, I mean,
Not
this
the
is
checking.
This is more pumped up.
Yeah, more even crazier
Yeah.
with the checking at least.
But they've with the different vehicles they've added, they've also added different kind of mini modes to the Crash mode. Like each car will have like a specific function to it. Like the big rig is just about destroying everything in its path. You can get the Formula 1 car or the hyper car here, which is all about boosting, and they actually do a really good job this time around of giving off a sense of speed when you're boosting, because it's basically just like wind noise, a little bit of road noise, and just the sensation and the depth of field going on that you're going really
Definitely
fucking fast.
looks more technically impressive than the first game. For sure.
It's a lot
Let me
more
ask you
impressive.
something.
It's
How's the music in this game?
There is no music in this game.
What about in the menus?
There is no music in this game.
What in the? That was a problem with the first game, right?
That was a problem with the first
There's
game.
a
yes.
problem with this fucking dev, dude. They do like these insanely short development cycles, and they release these games.
Do you know
that
how
are,
many
like,
people?
unfinished?
Do you know how many people are making this game?
But like that shouldn't be an excuse.
There
though.
are 7 people.
Yeah, and 10 people made No Man's Sky. Listen, man, it's no excuse.
They also had publisher support that was able to hire a fucking band to write their entire fucking soundtrack and make that for them. Okay, this is 7 guys just making this in like their houses.
But like, sure, and
They could probably get an 8th guy.
But like, there is, you just wouldn't release a game without music. Like, especially a game that is it's in any way kind of related. Like,
you
I mean,
you wouldn't
to a
download
series
a
like
car.
Burnout, right?
How long did it take you to finish this game?
I beat it in less than 2 hours.
I don't understand this developer at all, because I think people want to play this, but
I just fucking crashed.
I think people want to play this type of game, Burnout, especially the Crash mode,
and
is
they're
beloved.
working on it.
No,
This developer has announced that this was another step in the road towards making a Burnout game. They've announced it. It's called Dangerous Driving. It's supposed to come out this winter.
Is it gonna have music?
I mean, who knows? They haven't shown anything of it. I mean, I didn't even find out about this game until like 2 weeks
coming
ago.
out this winter. Like, I just got through, Jason Schreier's book where he goes through like 10 different development studios, 10 different development projects. I just finished that book, and like, there was like Stardew Valley and Shovel Knight, and it was all about the trials and tribulations of developing video games and how many years and like, you know, packets of ramen or whatever, you know. It's like tough and time consuming and like risky and like hard, but like you do it and sometimes it doesn't work and sometimes it does. But there was no story about a developer, you know, churning out like 2 games a year. Like, this is insane. Like, what are they doing?
I mean, they're trying to fast track a fucking Burnout game on 7 people.
They're trying to fast track 5 Burnout games. I don't get it.
I mean, think about what a Burnout game entails, though.
But I think it would.
But if Danger Zone 1 and Danger Zone 2 and this new game that came out was just one like super polished game, maybe they would make like way more fucking money than they're making.
My question,
with these games.
is, how come they don't hire an 8th guy, maybe get some music going, and then instead of doing like 18 games, they do 1 game, put it in early access for a little while so they can get a little cash flow going for the people like you who are really into it that would start playing it, and then you do a little more development on it, and then now that you can actually have a complete game.
I understand your point. I'm just saying that's what they did.
$20 seems like a ripoff. For
$20, yeah, for less than 2 hour game, yeah. I do feel a little ripped off, but at the same time, when I'm playing this, I played this for like an hour and a half the other night just to capture all this footage because I was having so much fun with it.
I mean, because Crash Mode is brilliant.
It is absolutely
It was
brilliant
back in Burnout when they actually cared. It seems like...
And the last Burnout game was 10 years ago.
I know.
Like
We do need to move on.
Yeah, we do.
I think it's fun. I think it's worth money if you like wait for like a really good sale. Like when this game gets down to like $5, it'll be worth it.
I'm not even mad at these guys. It just seems like waste of potential.
Crispy, what are you
know?
doing? You're killing me.
He's torturing me.
It seems like waste of potential.
Okay, I think Chris wants to come back and sit down. So
Okay.
I'm going to let him.
Okay. Thank you, Chris Davis.
Thank you for letting me talk about this game.
You're very welcome. Crispy? Oh my god. Take the controls away from this man.
What is...
We just ruined the entire presentation for YouTube. I didn't do anything.
You were clicking around the footage the entire time.
That was pretty interesting.
Oh my god.
At least somebody found it interesting. Chris Davis, I find it rich that you would bitch at me about screwing up footage. I find it rich.
All right. We're recording a podcast here. We must continue. Holy shit. I don't even know. Okay. Are we ready for news?
Yeah, we're ready for news.
Okay.
Hit us with that first news topic, Crispy.
What happened this week?
No Man's Sky. You flashed it 8 times when you were over there.
That's not an old... No Man's Sky Next has been announced for like 2 months.
No,
That's
it's
true.
been rumored, and this is what they finally showed the first trailer for it the other day.
Did you
They
watch
dropped
the
a trailer, but the next announcement came weeks ago. The names
I
No
definitely
Man's Sky
heard it
Next
before.
has been floating around for a while.
Oh.
So what is No
They
Man's
dropped
Sky
a
next?
trailer. That's all they did.
What did you think of the trailer?
It looks pretty cool. It looked like No Man's Sky with people.
Stuff.
With other people.
You can play in third-person mode now, too.
doing
I thought,
stuff.
I thought it was pretty interesting. And
The trailer itself was kind of patterned very similarly to the original announcement trailer where like they started in water and they're like swimming around and they come up and get in their ship and take off and blast off.
it definitely, the game also looks like it's received a pretty big visual upgrade, too. Or at least maybe from the footage I've been watching. And they've talked about cleaning it up a lot and improving textures and whatnot, but like I feel like every aspect of that engine looks like it's been improved or polished quite a bit since the last time I played it, which admittedly was back when the game first came out. But like the game seems like
they've been doing a lot of incremental,
more technically impressive game now.
They've been doing a lot of incremental like adjustment and switching and polishing for a while now. I mean, they added new elements into the game. I mean, one of the things from the trailer that stood out was they actually went to like a ringed planet, which is another one of those things that was like we kind of thought would be there and then wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, now they're back, so kind of interesting little touches. But yeah, I mean, it looked pretty cool.
It finally seems pretty cool.
I don't think this is gonna change anybody's mind one way or another.
Yeah, you know, I feel like it's coming around a little bit.
I guess. People are kind of assholes about this sort of thing, though. So I mean, it's
maybe
just
when
what it is.
when No Man's Sky's next goes down to $20, I'll probably pick it up.
This guy,
Yeah.
Dude, I've been wanting to play it. It's just one of those things where I don't how much.
I thought you were gonna say something shitty, but
Dude, I was super excited for No Man's Sky until I found that it was a bunch of nothing.
I know.
I wanted to
until
play
that
it. I wanted to play it very much, but then when I found out it was just, go to a planet, drill, like take a picture of an animal or something, I got less excited about it. So then when I heard, okay, they're still working on it, I was like, well, once it's in a better state, I definitely want to give it a shot. And now I don't know if I'm going to pick this one up when it launches.
I'm gonna kind of wait and see what the initial reception of it is, but it definitely looks more appealing now.
That first release was the early access, and this was like, hey, it's finally out. Like, I think people would be pretty stoked because this looks like a complete game, and I feel like I feel like the name is big enough to where it's still gonna sell pretty good. This next version of it or whatever, and I bet we see reviews that are like pretty impressive, and I bet people are assholes because hey, it's the internet and they're assholes about everything. But I bet it's gonna come around a little bit on this, and that's good for the future of Hello Games at least.
yeah, I mean, this is like there's a lot of interesting new elements that you're probably not even aware of that are already in the game that have been added.
Well, you talked about it a few months ago when we were talking about Atlas Rising, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've got like a whole new slew of like ground vehicles and things like that. Base building, like Subnautica style base building is in the game. In fact, they show some of that in the trailer too. Like
that
they show,
sounds
like,
interesting.
Underwater bases, but none of that is necessarily part of this like new thing that's coming up.
Yeah. Wait, they're not like one of the... Isn't next just additional content layered on top of what's already out there?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, not all of this stuff that you guys would think is new to No Man's Sky.
Oh,
next.
gotcha.
You get what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Can I ask you, do you intend to, like, commit to, like, playing this, like, substantially?
To nothing in life. But I'm definitely going to be playing a bunch of... I mean, when Atlas Rising came out, I dove back in for... I don't know. I probably put another good, like, 10 or 15 hours into it.
Right.
Yeah, and I remember you talking about that, and we were all pretty like excited to hear about it at that point. Like it's getting to that point where I want to give it another solid attempt for sure.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, this would be a good time to do it if you're interested.
I'm probably going to finish Subnautica, but I would like to hear what y'all have to say about this.
You should finish Subnautica. Anyways, let's hit the next news topic, which is... It's been getting weird. Okay, so this is actually news that came out today regarding Guerilla Games. You may know Guerilla Games, the guys behind Killzone, and more recently Horizon Zero Dawn. I love Horizon Zero Dawn. They already had a fairly large studio. I want to say it was like 250 people that worked on Horizon. But they have announced that they're going to expand into a new office, and they're going to almost double their workforce to almost 400 people, specifically in the interest of speeding up their development cycle, which to me translates specifically to so we can get Horizon 2 done sooner rather than later, because Horizon Zero Dawn was a huge hit.
Yeah.
And people are super thrilled about that studio again, especially now that they're doing something other than Killzone. So I mainly put this on there because I thought it was really good news, and it has to do with Horizon, and it gives me
I'm
hope.
glad for them. The fact that they can, the fact that they have the ability to do that, I'm glad.
Yeah, it gives me hope that maybe Horizon Zero Dawn isn't as far away, or Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is not quite as far away as I initially thought. I thought it might be 3 or 4 years before we see that game, but if they're doubling their workforce, there's a chance this game maybe out sooner.
I would prefer every game that's coming out in the future be delayed by like a year or two. Just there's already enough for me to play, and I don't mind waiting for anything.
True. I would like the sequel to Horizon to be on this generation of hardware, though. Personally,
I can think of an exception, but I'll say it during my fuck you.
Okay.
All right. Next news topic. Oh no. Okay. So Hollow Knight announced their Gods and Glory DLC coming out August 23rd. Yeah. There's a lot of like little details that I'm not as familiar with because I'm still very, very far behind with Hollow Knight. I haven't even finished the base game. But some of the bigger, like the touch points on this news topic would be they're adding new music to the game, and I think that game already has a fucking phenomenal soundtrack. So the fact that they're adding in new music, new bosses, new enemies, stuff like that, obviously sounds really, really great. And this is supposed to be kind of like their ultimate final update to the game, I believe. And that's coming out August 23rd. Still no word yet on the release schedule for the. They're going to do a physical release edition on the Switch. Still kind of hoping they're going to do that sometime soon, but no information on that yet. I'm assuming when it happens, though, it'll probably have all of this DLC probably packaged together.
Probably.
But that's coming out August 23rd. And next, so we're just kind of we're moving quickly here. All right. So we talked about this. Wait, did we talk about this last week? Was Nathan Fillion already tweeting about it?
Was not
It was a
known.
tease last week.
Yeah, so
Or we didn't know what it was.
Yeah,
but
so last week Nathan Fillion
said something about.
he tweeted a
Uncharted.
picture of Drake, and it had the we mentioned this last
Yeah, we
week.
did, briefly.
He tweeted basically that was something. He was teasing something related to Uncharted. Of course, everybody has always kind of naturally thought of Nathan Fillion as the perfect person to play Drake in a or Nathan Drake in a Uncharted film.
When you say Drake, he tweeted a picture of
Drake
the musician.
Yes, the musician. Sorry.
Not the character.
He
Nathan Drake.
tweeted a picture of Drake, but the caption or the actual verbiage of his tweet was a quote from Uncharted.
The Latin.
He's
Yeah,
very
the Latin.
clever.
Yeah. So he was tweeting something related to Uncharted. Well, on Monday of this week, we got our answer. He produced a 15-minute short fan film of Uncharted starring himself.
Is he the fan?
Maybe.
I think it's just a film made by fans. Yeah, I think he said he's a fan of the series. I think he's...
How much involvement did he have in making this thing?
He was in it.
He starred in it, Brad.
I know, but
He's in most of the footage of it.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Well,
I
these
guess the
people-
question is, did he instigate it?
I don't know. He's been like leading campaigns to like be made the star of
This is
whatever
what I'm
Uncharted
asking, yeah.
movie came out.
I listened to an interview and someone asked him, "Is this like your Deadpool thing? You know, like with Ryan Reynolds? Or
Yeah,
whatever?
and how
And
he
then what
leaked
was his
the foot.
response?
Yeah, that's the important part. Give us the response.
He said, kinda, but you know,
Who wants
we'll
to put
see
themselves
Great
on that
story,
shelf,
Brad.
though?
I mean-
listen to the interview.
Okay.
They released the fan film. It's 15 minutes long. Of course, Nathan Fillion stars as Nathan Drake. What did y'all think?
I enjoyed it.
That's pretty good.
I would watch.
It had a good energy to it.
I would watch a full 2-hour movie starring Nathan Fillion as Nathan Drake. I think this kind of cements it. Of course, obviously, this is running on a smaller budget, so there's obviously some
It's
noticeable
like-
things there. But
It's kind of funny that like as an outsider, I think of Uncharted as being like these just absolutely ridiculous, over the top set piece moments.
yeah,
That's kind of some of the best stuff about it.
Right. I mean that's what's used to sell the game.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like these absolutely absurd, implausible, like disaster scenarios, and you don't get any of that in this. I mean,
no.
this is very like
This is-
like he jumps out a window at
This
one point.
this to me feels like the first 15 minutes of an Uncharted game.
yeah.
Like the very beginning where they're just kind of setting up, oh, this is the thing we're after or something like
they decided to highlight. I think maybe to me, what I wanted to as a screen test, maybe for like what a full movie could be. Like they captured what was important to me, which was
Sure.
how Nathan Fillion would encapsulate that role.
Let's be honest. This is what they could afford. I don't think they could afford a proper Uncharted set piece.
I almost feel like
But like, I don't feel like they
Fillion-
needed to, because I feel like they proved with this short film that if given the budget, given the time, given the backing of a production studio,
maybe a little more makeup budget.
But an Uncharted
They
movie's
could-
happening
I know, and that's the weird thing.
with Tom Holland, and that was kind of his answer. Is like when someone asked him, "Is this like your thing to get Sony to take notice or whatever?" And he sort of trailed off talking about how he thinks like Tom Holland's like a good guy, and you know, yada yada yada. But it sounded
What are you
like
gonna say? Like,
yeah.
like the thing. I don't know. Maybe nobody else feels this way, but this. I really liked the energy, and I really like the kind of lightheartedness of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But like I feel like it walked right up to a line of like parody. And like some like there's a lot of I don't know what Uncharted's like. You know, I've never played any of the games, so I don't know how silly it
it's pretty-
behaves.
it can get pretty silly.
It
I
gets
kind
pretty
of
silly.
imagine it does.
Yeah.
Like I've seen enough of the character to know that there is a certain like rollicking lightheartedness to
Yeah.
the adventure, but I still see that Nathan Drake as being portrayed more as like the roguish romantic hero, And like Nathan Fillion's Nathan Drake is almost like making fun of that guy.
But that is.
Well, I mean, sure, you can argue that there's a bit of self-reflexivity about like the whole adventure genre in Uncharted, but at the same time, they still want you to take Nathan Drake seriously to a certain level, to a certain degree, like as a pulp adventure hero. Like there are moments, there are scenes in those games. I am sure. I would bet money, having never seen them, that there are scenes in that game where it is very much like, okay, this is not a funny moment. This is like a hero moment. This is him doing badass stuff. This is him getting the girl. This is him beating the bad guy. This is him, doing the thing. So,
but there's always the quip there, to undercut like anything that's too serious.
But that doesn't make it a parody. That doesn't make it like a comedy.
Do you know what made this thing feel more parody to me than Nathan Fillion? It was actually Sully. Who, just like in the game, had delivered almost every line with that huge fucking cigar in his mouth. And it's like, okay, that...
Well, I mean, even like Nathan Drake's sitting there getting punched in the face and he's just kind of like shrugging like, man, Mondays, right? Like, like it's a little tongue-in-cheek and I like it. I just don't... I kind of like instinctively feel like that's not what
you need to play some Uncharted. Some pre-Uncharted for Uncharted maybe.
Sure, but like I kind of like if the choice was between the two, I kind of like this a little better.
I mean,
play the game. Also, I think Amy Hennig probably likes Firefly because I feel like Nathan Drake may have been somewhat influenced by Nathan Fillion in general.
I could definitely see that.
Definitely influenced by like a 2005 Nathan Fillion.
Sure. I will say this too, but like when they took off like the thing, the sack off of his head, and you saw Nathan Fillion there, and you saw him in the. He's wearing like the overall, like the suspenders, right, and the outfit. And I was just like, "Oh shit!"
Suspenders?
He had like, what do you call them? He has like the.
He has his gun, like the gun straps, the holsters.
Yeah, I guess that is what it is.
Yeah, they're holsters.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But he's wearing the very identifiable Nathan Drake stuff. At the moment I saw that, I was like, "God damn!"
Yeah,
like
he doesn't really like. Look the part anymore. He's getting kind of old.
He's getting old.
Well, that's why I said they need a better makeup budget.
I think that also kind of like feeds into it a little bit too. It's like I'm sitting there watching him doing this and going like, that's ridiculous for him to be doing this.
But also, I will also add to that Uncharted 4 Nathan Drake looked a lot older and different from 1 through 3.
Okay, but like you get what I'm saying about like the actual like tonal aim with like the Uncharted series for sure. Like, I mean, the advertising does not read like, hey, this is a funny game. You're going to have funny times playing this. This is like, this is an adventure game. We're going to go on a fucking quest. Like, he's a very, like, rugged, handsome, like, alpha male type hero. And he makes quips. They're a little self-reflective about the fact that this is a... that this is a trope in the adventure genre because, of course, everything that is in the adventure genre nowadays is just that because, we're kind of in an age of postmodernism and everything's a little bit that to some extent. But it's still, like, aimed at being this, like, serious, like, aspirational adventure.
That's half of what the game is.
I think
that's what I'm saying. Like,
I think you really need to play Uncharted.
No, for sure.
Okay, I'm just. We need to move on.
I kind of feel like you guys don't get what I'm saying. But okay, let's go.
But like, we're also like hesitant to like really respond because
you're telling me that the game is just like straight up comedy.
No.
Okay.
No, but I'm saying I think you would see more of what we're seeing.
What you're describing, how they market the game, that is a huge chunk of what the game is.
Guys, we need to move on.
Okay.
We need to fucking move on. But. Go check it out. If you haven't seen the video, go check it out.
We'll talk about this later.
It's also like worth noting, like if they ever went out and made like a full version of this as a movie with a budget, like, and they hired Nathan Fillion to be Nathan Drake, they would put him through like 6 months of like rigorous physical training.
Of course.
I feel like the most Uncharted thing was when he was looking at the notes.
When he was on the desk, he was looking at the
at the end of the whole thing when he's like putting the pieces together is when it kind of feels like
I think
they're doing something.
I think the impressive thing here is like as like a fan film and they wrote this whole thing, it felt very much like believable as far as like this feels like a fucking like the clues they like came up with and stuff and like how they all pieced together.
Even like the scenarios, like Sully off on the side with the binoculars, hey kid, they're coming for you, blah blah blah. Like, all of that stuff. It definitely felt Uncharted. I think honestly, I think they did a fairly good job. Don't get me wrong. Yes, the characters did not look like their characters, but whatever. I think I felt like as watching it, I felt like I was watching like Uncharted.
Yeah. All right. Is that it for news?
Sully was the dude from Avatar?
Yes,
Yeah.
he was.
And the man who Sarah goes.
All right. We finished the news. We're moving at a good pace now. Nolan,
What up?
you got some questions for us. You got. What can you tell us about Patreon this
So
week?
first of all, we have one new patron.
Oh shit.
A lovely person out there in the world decided they wanted to become a patron of us, and that person is Spencer P.
Spencer P, thank you very much for supporting us. We definitely appreciate it.
Thank you, Spencer. We appreciate your patronage. So yeah, every week we post a thread on Patreon where you can ask us any question you want. As long as you were a patron, you can come and ask us any questions. Ask a question.
Anything.
This week we got a few
want.
questions. The first one from Shadow Step. What are some things that you should not say at a funeral?
Ooh.
I apologize.
Is this? Sorry about that. Oh dear.
Don't say we skipped a news topic.
Wait, did we skip a news topic?
I thought we did, unless we talked about it last
well,
week.
too late, bro.
It's intentionally left off.
We're on feedback or questions or whatever.
Well,
It won't happen again.
It was.
Better luck next time.
I don't know. That's a tough
We'll
question.
see you at the next one.
Where's the food?
What's that smell?
Oh,
So,
yeah, I don't
all
know.
good one.
Yeah.
All good answers.
Jerose asks, after reimagining both God of War and Assassin's Creed had recently, which old classic franchise? What?
Wait, what was it? Is it Assassin's Creed and what?
Classic
Which old? Sorry, there's not a space there. Is it after the reimagining both God of War and Assassin's Creed had recently? Which old classic franchise would you like to see to receive similar treatments in its hypothetical modern revival? And into which genre? No, you can't say Dino Crisis, Nick.
First of all,
why not Dino Crisis?
Well, first of all, I
'Cause
think
you
it's.
said no, you can't say it, Nick.
Let
Brad,
me
you
just
can
say,
Yeah.
I don't think Assassin's Creed necessarily falls into the same category as God of War.
Yeah, I would say no.
No.
Assassin's Creed's upgrades were more in terms of just like tightening the gameplay and like freeing up like your options, but it still felt very much like the world and the series that we had always been playing.
Yeah.
God of War is like a complete reimagining from the ground up, totally dramatically different from the original series.
I'm gonna say the Aliens franchise. Colonial Marines had a lot of problems. I think if they rebooted it by fixing a single typo,
God damn it!
it would be a lot better.
Well, okay. Speaking of the game case we saw earlier, Mega Man Legends. I feel like that game had a lot of potential, and it was good. The second one,
They canceled that third one, though.
They did, yeah. I feel like a modern version of that with kind of a spin on how the game works, I think could potentially be pretty good.
I like Dino Crisis. I like Onimusha. A lot of that Capcom stuff, they're just not doing anything with. Maybe make Mega Man a first-person shooter and let Armature develop it.
Ooh.
That got canceled.
You know, I mean, I can't say Dino Crisis. I won't say Dino Crisis, but
What?
I said I won't say Dino Crisis.
Oh, Singularity?
No, we'd want it to be an established franchise. Oh, geez.
A lot of people are talking about...
I see a few people saying Devil May Cry in chat, which the thing is they already tried to make some pretty dramatic changes in
know
Devil
what
May
I
Cry,
was
and that didn't work out too great.
I know
for them.
it's not. I don't know if it's the question. In VR, papers, please.
Yes. That would be pretty cool.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
I take it.
That would
probably
be
be-
super stressful.
I would play the shit out of that. Yeah, it would.
But
be
you also got to
stressful.
think about it in terms of like series that have also tried doing this and maybe not had the same reaction that something like God of War got. Like I'm thinking of Tomb Raider. That's been a very divisive. I feel like. Right?
I feel like
I know, I hate it.
I feel like the reboot of Tomb Raider in 2013 was the equivalent of almost like the God of War we just got. It was a similar style reboot.
Yeah,
And
I mean
that-
it is
Yeah.
definitely dramatically different from the ground up.
From the same developer as well.
Yeah.
Like he told me not to say Dino Crisis. He didn't say anything about Silent Hill, but like that series is dead. I'm gonna stop wishing
It's
for
been
anything.
rebooted so many times, too, so...
Rebooted? Silent Hill?
I mean, more or less, right? I mean,
no, I mean not really.
they've come out with
I mean,
a lot of games
they've
that are
tried
way
Maybe
different.
different
not
things.
so much in like resetting the lore or
Yeah.
anything, but
Same
in,
with
like,
Resident Evil, right?
like completely
Resident Evil
different
never reset
approaches
the lore.
to the.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
I don't know.
Like Homecoming versus Downpour versus Shattered
Let's move
Memories
on.
versus.
White Fang. Does hitting a difficulty spike cause you to put the game down, or does it make you more determined to succeed? I know I'm late, but I loved your Dying Light conversation.
Depends if it's
Question
bullshit or not.
Well, thank you for the compliment on the Dying Light conversation. I think this is going to differ dramatically depending on just from person to person and how they handle stress or why they play games to begin with. I'm personally, like, when I hit like a really hard spot, like, I get super frustrated super fast, but I'm also super stubborn.
I can get frustrated.
I hate giving up in video games. Even if I'm hating every minute of what I'm doing, if I'm hitting my head against a wall, like, people have watched me get frustrated on the stream. Like, I don't want to quit, but like, I could try something for 100 fucking times and hate it.
For me, it depends
But I
on
won't stop.
the scenario in the game. If it's something that I can easily walk away from and come back to later, like in the game, if like I can stop doing, like, if it's like a mission or something that I can just, you know what, I'll do this later, I will. But if it's something that like I can't, like, really, I have to do that to proceed, I definitely will just not put it down, to physically put the game down and come back later. I'll keep like trying to brute force it.
If it's honest.
Also, there's so many different styles.
If it's fair.
There's so many types of difficulty, like, because, like I said, I don't play games for difficulty, but, like, I played through all the Dark Souls games, and those games almost never, like, made me feel like I was wasting my time, or
Yeah, I know what you mean.
like it wasn't worth my time.
I tweeted it a while back, but y'all know that anime meme that is this a pigeon? That thing with the guy, and he's
With
like,
the butterfly?
yeah, there's like a butterfly or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, instead of that, the butterfly, like, the guy says like gamer, and the butterfly says a completely fair death in a game, and he says, "Is this bullshit?" But that's like so accurate to life, like fucking bullshit.
Yeah, it's pretty generic reaction to that kind of thing. Just instantly say this is bullshit.
All right, moving on, Mr. Green Toast. Would you rather donate $2 to a children's charity fund, or get on with your grocery shopping so you can get home and start making dinner?
What?
I read that earlier and I was like,
I'm assuming he's referring to,
he's talking
like,
when you go to the grocery
like a
store and they
grocery
ask you if
store.
you want to donate $2 to a children's fund, and like the only thought going through your head is, no, I want to go home and cook
Yeah.
dinner.
So,
It's a rhetorical question.
honestly,
people.
Is that what's going through your head, Nick?
Honestly, something I found,
Yes.
there's sometimes if I'm in a hurry, I am a fan of Panda Express. I know it's definitely not the best food in the world, but it's fairly quick, and you can get a decently healthy meal there, especially if you get the steamed vegetable side, which are pretty good. But what they started doing is they don't ask, do you want to donate today, or do you want to donate $1? They say, do you want to round your total up to the nearest dollar?
I usually say yes to that.
And so when they say that, I'm like, okay, sure.
And then they donate on their end.
Yeah, so instead of being $15.30, it's $16. So you just did 70 cents.
Yeah.
And so it's a much. I found that anytime someone asks me that, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's not that.
I always
bad.
say yes to
So
that.
so what happens? So say you use one of
weird
those.
how that works,
Say you use one of those services
Yeah.
where you can like invest. It'll automatically round up your purchases to the nearest dollar and then invest that. What if you're already doing that and they ask you that question? Does it?
Well, then fuck off.
Yeah, there we go. Fuck off.
The other day,
you heard it here
the other
first.
day they went, when I was there, it was some new cashier, and she was like, "Do you want to donate $1?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "Fuck you, no." If you would have asked me to round up, I would have said yes. You lost a fucking donation to charity, lady.
Yeah, I never say yes to the dollar.
And that's your fault,
You
not
guys
mine.
never say yes
I
to the
never
dollar.
say yes to the dollar.
You never say
It
yes to the
depends.
dollar.
It depends.
You know what the worst part
Wow.
is? This is like a little tangential.
Wow.
If I'm out with Malia and she's paying and she gets a receipt with the tip line, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. If she sees a tip line, she will always do
You
something.
don't have to tip at like Freebirds.
But if she sees the tip
Don't do
line,
it.
she can't not do it.
And that's why they
You
do
know,
it.
like that's why they have those receipts.
Yep.
Don't tip.
What? Okay.
I'm
never mind.
saying-
no, we're not having this
Yep.
discussion.
Moving on.
Keep going.
If
You're
it is-
horrible.
if it is a-
you're a fucking horrible garbage person.
I feel
Keep
the
going.
exact same way as
No, you don't understand what I'm saying.
No, I do understand.
If
what
you
you're
walk
saying.
up to a counter
I know.
and buy food
I
and they
usually
give you
do
your
because they have a
food,
tip jar.
See, like a tip
It's the
jar is
same
different.
thing as putting $1 in a tip jar, except you're charging it to your card.
No. It's
If it's
different.
a food truck or
It's
something,
different.
I'll put $1 in a tip jar. If I go up to Freebirds and there's a tip line, I'm not gonna tip.
Here's the thing: tip jars for me are for if I give them cash, they give me change. Like here, keep the change. Tip jar. That's how I handle it.
It doesn't have to be a waiter. If they bring me the food, I'll tip. But if I'm taking my food away from a counter, that tip line is a scam.
Wow, misers! You guys are just hoarders.
I have a question for you.
We're
Crispy.
splitting the couches
Hold
again.
on. I got a question for you.
You know you're supposed to tip it.
So here's a scenario. All right, think about this,
Guys, this show is going too long.
Think about this.
Yeah, but-
and this is kind of my opinion on why I don't like how American handles like waiters and tips and stuff. So you go to a restaurant, Chili's. I don't know.
I would never go there.
Well, this hypothetical scenario where Chili's is a excellent, perfect restaurant to go to.
Okay.
So Nick, you're not very hungry, so you order a pickle. That's it. Just like a pickle. Comes out, it's like $1. I don't know. So you tip 20%. What? 20 cents. I order a steak. I tip, I don't know, it's a $20 steak. I tip like $4. The waitress did the same amount of effort bringing the food to the table and setting it down.
Okay,
Why
this
would
is a different.
I don't know.
conversation.
I've always kind of been
But yeah.
weird by
Tangent.
that. I tip 20%, if not more. That's what I normally do, just because that's how I was raised. But I'm like, but why? They didn't do any extra work for one versus the other.
Yeah,
the
'cause that-
cook
because
is not
that
getting
job-
more money from that.
Because
I just think-
waiters get paid less.
Well, that's the thing is,
so
I
they
think that's
need the
bullshit.
tips.
I don't think they should get paid less.
True.
I think they
Fucking
should
true,
get paid
but
a good salary.
You could
and-
also argue that what you're ordering does affect the waiter's job. I mean, they do have to be a little more timely and on top of a cooked food order than they do getting you a pickle.
Is the tip going to the person cooking the steak?
No, it doesn't.
No, it goes.
The chefs
to...
get a wage. They get
Plus, the waiters have to tip out the busboys who are cleaning up the mess. So if you're
that's
getting
true.
a pickle
Yeah.
and there's not hardly any dishes, but you're getting a huge steak dinner, and there's 3 dishes that somebody has to come and clean off later.
Who
then
gets the tip at Freebirds? The owner?
I don't know. That's a
I'm
good
sure
question.
they pool.
I'm sure they probably split it. All right, we need to move on from this. SMG, what is the best flavor of soup? I'm quite partial to bisque, especially crab or lobster. Also, if you eat soup with crackers, does it make it a sandwich?
Wait, what? Do you eat soup with crackers?
What if you eat it with bread?
Are
All right,
you
here's the
using
question,
2
Nick.
crackers?
You go to get soup and it comes in a bread bowl.
Don't do this to me.
And you just go. Is that a sandwich?
No, it's not a sandwich. What that is you're eating a fucking bread bowl wrong.
Are you taking the bread bowl from the counter or is someone bringing it to you?
Oh my god, this stupid.
You tip for a service.
Italian wedding is a really good soup. I like Italian wedding.
What is Italian wedding?
It's a lot of stuff. It's they're tiny little pellets of noodles, and there's usually sausage or some sort of meat in there, a bunch of different seasonings, usually some vegetables and stuff like that. It's a pretty complex soup, but it's delicious. I would recommend it if you go somewhere. I'm also a fan of broccoli cheddar.
I like clam chowder.
French onion.
Yeah.
Brad, any
Egg
opinions
drop
on
soup. I'm
soups?
quite fond of egg drop
Egg
soup.
drop soup's good. Yeah. No, you don't like
or
soup?
like wonton soup, but
Soup
only
is
if
not
it's
a
a
food.
really shitty wonton.
Only if it comes with a single wonton.
If it's
Just
like a
a
really
single
a
wonton
really
floating in it?
trashy, cheap wonton soup, it's really good, or really expensive.
I like a good mulligatawny.
What? What the fuck is that?
It's a soup.
Is it?
Yes.
What was
How do you
that?
spell that?
What was the stuff we had in LA during?
I don't know how
E3?
to spell it.
Oh god.
Udon.
Udon, yeah.
Yeah,
Udon?
that
Sure.
shit was really good.
I think I prefer ramen to udon.
I don't know. I was really into that.
I mean, not saying it was bad.
Do you consider ramen
udon was
soup?
Udon was great,
yeah, ramen is soup.
but I still prefer ramen to udon.
Most of the cooking going on in ramen is building the broth.
I guess so.
Then actually, I'm gonna go with ramen's probably my favorite
Ramen,
soup.
yeah, absolutely.
That was just kind of a sandwich thing for me. I consider when I think of soup, I think of myself sitting down with a spoon and just spooning something into my mouth until
you
I'm
never
done.
Spoon at a ramen.
I can't
shop.
spoon like a foot long noodle into my mouth. It falls
Right,
off the
but
spoon.
what do you do about everything else in the bowl?
I usually like drink it.
You can drink soup.
That's true. I'm not saying it's not. I never thought about ramen like a soup.
Oh, Nolan, you need to get the soup straight in your head.
So
You need
if
to start living a more soup centric life.
So if I take a bowl and I fill it with really liquidy spaghetti sauce, and I put some spaghetti noodles in there. Is that a soup?
If you're drinking the sauce, I would say yes. If the main transference of the sauce is you spooning it or drinking it, then it's a soup. If the sauce is being transferred into your mouth because it's like clinging to the noodles, which is how most pasta works, then I wouldn't say that's a soup.
All right, moving on.
Soup is bullshit.
It's poor people food.
Yeah.
Oh
It's
my
like
god.
it's like a fucking appetizer or a drink. It's
Soup
not,
is wonderful.
It's not
and
a food.
We would not have human civilization without soup. So
It's not
watch
a
your
meal.
mouth.
It's not a meal.
Zero Skies asks, what are some of your favorite scents linked to memories?
Fart.
Dude,
What memory does that link you to? Brad?
Various farts, all kinds of different farts.
so many.
No,
Very memorable.
but what memory does a fart link you to? That's not how that works. You
Okay.
smell something and it reminds you of an event.
This
or
is
a
certainly
time
going
or a
places.
place.
He smells a fart and he's immediately.
I mean, I
whisked
have
back to
one
the
that I
spring
reminds me of a
03.
butthole.
That's not how that works, Brad. Like I brought it up on the show before, but I have a particular leather jacket that my grandmother and grandfather got me when I was like 13 or something, and the Christmas they got it for me was the Christmas Kingdom Hearts came out. So every time I smell that leather jacket, I think of the original playing that original Kingdom Hearts at my neighbor's house.
You know what's a thing?
That is a smell linked to a memory, Brad.
No, I know what that is, but
Oh my god, guys.
I was trying to justify the
All right,
fart.
hold on. Let me jog your memory. Real
Y'all
quick.
are, guys, you're both killing me. What are you
I-
doing, Nolan?
Jogging, Brad.
Oh no, Nolan.
So I
Reminds me of that time you
rotate through a
farted
couple
on me.
different brands of like shampoo and body wash and deodorant. Like I've only got like maybe 2 or 3 brands that I stick within, but I try all the different scents that they sell, you know? So every once in a while I'll like run out of shampoo and I'll go buy a new shampoo, or I'll run out of body wash and I'll go buy it and be like, oh, I haven't had Irish Spring in a while, and I'll pick up like some weird scent of Irish Spring and I like smell it and I'm instantly like, oh, I forgot how familiar the scent was. And it makes me feel like, 2 years ago when I was living on Riverside or something, it's weird. Like I can't even like place a specific event or like time to it, but like
It's just very nostalgic.
but like an emotional response,
I don't think I get this often.
I have trouble. I remember, campfires. Whenever I smell like the smoky smell, I always think of when I was younger and my dad would take me and Joel and hunting. And
Oh, do you get different reactions where it's like if you smell fire while it's hot out versus if you smell fire while it's cold out?
yes, absolutely.
Oh, that's
like
yeah,
the
definitely,
combination of like the cold air and like the smell of smoke
Yeah.
reminds me of some pretty
Reminds
specific
you of
memories.
killing ducks.
Never
So
actually shot
anyway,
anything.
Didn't need to.
Shot a windmill.
All you need's a stick.
That was fun.
All right, so next question from Phoenix in Flames. What is the scariest YouTube video you know of?
Oh God, I'll tell you this.
That Friday video?
Wait, what?
It's Friday.
Oh. No. What's the Marble Hornets thing?
Yeah.
Always freaks me the fuck out.
Marble Hornets is pretty good.
That actually creeped me. That legit creeped me. Was that Bernadette that can't handle that, or is that
Yeah.
There's 3 specific moments in Marble Hornets that always fucking like never fail to flip me out, and that's like in the 3rd episode when he's got the camera and he like looks out the window at the porch.
Yeah.
And you just see like the figure standing there. There's one where he like had a camera set up while he was sleeping and it flips out and it's just like flashing through frames, and in one of them there's like somebody up like in the corner of the room like over his bed. And then way later in like the second part of that whole series, there's a part where like one of the characters like girlfriend finds a camera and is like, oh, what's this? And it's like really calm and like nothing's happening, and she's just like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And she like just starts swinging it around and like she points it for half a second down a hallway, and that like Slenderman character standing there and like peeks out and she's like, ah! And like the whole thing like explodes.
I think
from
that's
that
where I
moment.
stopped.
Like,
It was like, I can't do this
it's
anymore.
fucking gross.
That shit's pretty fucked up. Also, there's a lot of videos out there that are like scariest unexplained things that caught on film, whatever. There's always I've seen one like video that kind of made the rounds around a few different ones, but it's like a hotel room. it's a security camera in a hotel hallway, and they got reports from a neighboring room that they hear screaming coming from one of the rooms, and it's just the camera's like pointed at the door, and you can just hear this like high pitched screaming, like someone's being fucking axe murdered in the hotel room, and then they have someone come check it, and as soon as they open the door, it stops, and then the guy comes out and you hear him on the radio. He's like, I don't know what's going on here, but like all the furniture in this room is like fucked up. And it's like, it's probably fucking fake, but every time I watch it, it gives me the fucking chills from head to
Did
toe.
you say it's probably fake?
Yeah, that's what I mean. No, but it's on like it's like one of those like compilation videos where there's a bunch of stuff like that very well could be real. So you kind of never know which ones you're looking at are real, which ones are fake.
I mean, they're all fake, but
That one.
No, I mean there's certain things that are just unexplained shit that could be that there's
Could be
probably
fake.
some there's some explanation.
Nick?
No.
That security
okay.
cam footage of the girl in the elevator in that hotel.
Oh,
the girl who ended up in the water tank.
Yeah, she's
that they
usually in
didn't
the
find.
same fucking video,
Yeah.
and that shit's
And
real.
it's just her in the elevator, like acting really weird, and
It's-
like nothing particularly like kind of scary happens.
She's just
in the
looking
video,
all like
but
shifty.
the whole
right?
thing is creepy as shit. The elevator's like doing this weird thing where it's just like going to floors and like opening on its own.
Is that real footage?
It's real security cam footage of this girl
Yeah,
who
it
really
is.
died in this hotel,
You didn't hear
and
about
they
that,
didn't
Rod?
find
I heard
her.
about the girl.
They
Dad.
found her in the fucking
I
water
know.
tank
Yeah.
on
I
the
heard
ceiling,
that.
Like,
man.
I
weeks
never
later.
seen videos though.
Shit.
Yeah, Eliza Lamb. That's what.
There's some creepy shit out there. Most of it's fake, but there's some
Fucking
creepy
weird.
shit.
Schizophrenic.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Did they
Yeah.
figure that out?
I think
Well,
so.
I think that was something that they knew about.
Yeah.
Oh.
But
It's
anyway,
still fucking creepy.
It is.
that's
creepy.
all the questions from our patrons. Thanks to all our patrons for asking those questions this week. We appreciate it. Once again, every week, any patron can ask us any question they want. We had some pretty good ones today. So be sure to look for that post on the Patreon.
All it takes is $1 per month. You support us $1 per month on Patreon. You can ask us any questions, and you also get 24-hour early access to all of our podcasts without ads. So, something to consider. All right, it is time to finish this show off. Let's wrap it up with 4-Player Minute. You know how this works. Brad, go.
My first fuck you goes to Mountain Blade Bannerlord. Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. I was looking at my little USB stick, and I can't believe this game's still not out. You know, what if by the time it comes out, my PC's not cool enough for it? I built this PC for Bannerlord.
There's no way it's gonna be like that.
I know, it still makes me sad. My next fuck you goes to Chris Davis for skipping the aliens topic. It was an interesting news topic about a typo that got fixed in the aliens colonial marines code that makes it like
It wasn't intentional.
way like the AI like behaves
They
properly.
deleted one letter and it
Yeah.
just like fixed the whole game.
It's
No,
a real.
it's not about deleting the letter. It's more about the fact that the game's code was looking for a phrase
Yeah.
so the AI could know where to go, but that
Object-oriented
phrase was
programming.
misspelled. What?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess object-oriented.
the
but
actual
most likely,
misspelling was there was an extra letter.
correct.
That
They
didn't belong
they
there.
spelled, what was the word?
Tether.
The T.
Tether. They spelled
yeah.
tether wrong.
TEA.
And so, which obviously means they were using a bad IDE because it probably would have caught.
Carlos
uncreated
installed it and
variable,
tried it
but-
out, and he says it's like fucking night and day.
Yeah.
It's like that's insane to me.
That is so crazy.
That is crazy.
My next fuck you is to Henry, who's just standing up in place now. Just fucking like, I'm just gonna stand here
In the middle of the night in the hallway.
no, but my wife was like in the kitchen or some shit today. She comes out and Henry's just standing there drinking out of a sippy cup, just standing out in space. It was
Menacing.
fucking freaky. Fuck that kid. He falls. He cracks his
Brad just
head.
walked
It's
up and
like
kicked him.
it sounds like the most horrifying thing when a baby falls and cracks his head on the ground, and then he's like crying because hey, he fell and smacked his head, and you're like Googling shit, like, is this okay? And they're like, oh, it's good, it's fine, it's normal. You know, if he starts acting like very strange, you know, like he has a concussion, then maybe you'll call the doctor. But other than
Where
that,
he's levitating.
babies are gonna get fucked up.
He
That's
starts doing
basically what it
algebra.
says.
Just make him wear like a donut on his head.
Yeah. Fuck you, Henry.
Pool floaties.
Calm down. Take it down a notch, Henry. And my final fuck you goes to bad video game bets. I made a bet with David last week, of all people. We got to talking, and the topic of the Wonderful 101 comes up, which is a game I love, a game I recommended to a lot of people. And, you know, pretty much all those people who played through the Wonderful 101 also love it. I truly believe that the final act of the game is maybe the best conclusion of any game I've ever played. It's amazing. It's rousing. It's wonderful. Yeah, I know he's tried it and stopped in the past. He gets really frustrated with some types of design, and I knew he struggled through that game, but I also know that he'll love the final act of that game. So I'm like, hey, just get through that game. And he's like, all right, I'll play through this, but you got to play through Blinks the Time Sweeper.
What?
And before I could even like protest, and I believe I did try to protest, like, do you have any other games? He's like, no, Blinks the Time Sweeper. You know, it has the best ending. And I'm like, okay. And then sure enough, he's just blazing his way through the Wonderful 101 because he's David. That's what he does. He blazes through fucking games. And now I haven't started Blinks the Time Sweeper, but I guess I got to play Blinks the Time Sweeper.
Is he clowning you?
Are we going to hear about Blinks the Time Sweeper in a
David,
future
so
episode?
Maybe
Like,
next
he's
week
just
I will
saying-
have footage of Blinks
No,
the
he's
Time
actually
Sweeper.
playing it.
No,
So
but I
fuck
mean,
me.
he's saying this is what level I think Wonderful 101 is on.
I don't think that's what he's saying. He was like genuinely sincere about him thinking the ending, like the final like ending, I think as part of a cutscene was like super dope to Blinks the Time Sweeper. So now I got to play through that whole game to see it.
Well,
So I'll have footage next week
probably
and impressions of Blinks the Time Sweeper.
I can't wait.
I'll probably play some of it on my stream tomorrow.
All right, my 4-player starts now. My sweat is for Frostpunk. I mean, I'm on my first, like, I guess, playthrough of the game, and things are going better than I think they would for the first time playing it. So I'm almost worried that either I'm gonna go through to the end, or I'm just I'm about to, like, something's gonna turn around the corner right now. I'm just gonna completely fail and have to restart.
No, it's worse than you can ever imagine.
Probably.
From what I've heard on podcasts.
All right, I'm worried about it.
Storm of the Century.
My other sweat goes to Fallout New Vegas. I do not know what's going on with my game. I started Googling it. People are suggesting really dumb stuff, and also all the threads are from like 2012. And so I doubt they're super relevant to me now. But I don't know. I don't know why it keeps randomly minimizing. I'll play it for like anywhere between 30 seconds and 10 minutes, and it'll just randomly minimize. I don't think I've installed any programs recently on my computer that would cause it or anything. So yeah, I don't know what's going on.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, it sucks.
I hate that.
It's just that I've played like 4 other games, and none of them had that issue. So it's just New Vegas. And after
So that's what
after
you're playing,
80
Frost.
hours of playing Tale of Two Wastelands, all of a sudden it starts doing it. My hype is I got a new chair for my desk for gaming, whatever. My old one was getting a little bit old. It was squeaky as fuck. The armrests were falling apart, and it just was not the best. And I'm excited. I got a nice one, so I'm excited to sit in it and play games. And my final hype goes to tomorrow evening. Bernadette and I are going to see a Master Pancake of Gladiator. I've talked about Master Pancake plenty of times on the show before because I fucking love it, and I'm super excited for it.
Cool.
The only downside to it is it's downtown at the Ritz.
Boo.
Yep.
I
That's
like
it.
that theater.
I like the theater. If they were to take that theater and move it like out of downtown, I'd be even happier.
What?
Hit up Dirty Six when it's over.
Yeah, I mean, walking out onto that fucking horrid street
With,
after
like,
the movie
With
is
5 homeless people
is
standing there.
part
Just
of
hand
the
your car keys to a
experience.
transient and we'll park it for you.
part of the experience. I mean, if you don't feel like you're gonna get murdered in the parking garage that you're parking in, then what's the point?
The worst part is there's so many parking garages around there you go in, and it's like, do you actually work here? Are you just a guy who's taking money away from me? Like, I get that
one
feeling
of those
so
parking
often.
garages I got in a hotel, and like about to have like a fucking like murder slasher film thing happen, where like I got in an elevator and it like let me out on the wrong floor, like on this really eerily lit hallway with like a bunch of locked doors on it. I was like, what's going on now? It was fucking weird.
That's creepy.
I don't know why it stopped on that floor either. I don't know.
Spoopy. Crispy, go.
Okay, my hype this week is for No Man's Sky Next.
Oh, brought to you by No Man's Sky.
Brought to you by No Man's Sky Next. Legitimately for No Man's Sky Next. Yeah, I can't wait. I hope at the very least we can put all the ugliness behind us. My sweat is for Pit People, because I've been playing that. I played a bunch of that, and it's really fun. And
Isn't it fucking funny?
I fucking love the writing in that game. Like
So
the
funny.
narrator character, the space bear or whatever he is so fucking funny, and even like the amount of
Oh,
the amount
you
of
gave her your
humor.
blueberries. Yes, you
no.
did.
Oh no, you gave.
Didn't
her
I tell
your-
you it's like the best acted gibberish ever?
Yeah. I mean, the amount of like comedy and emotion they can get out of literal gibberish
Yeah.
is incredible.
And they sound like
I love
Canadians.
it, but like everything you were saying about the game being just like
What the fuck is going
being
on?
like oblique and just like absolutely fucking just like opaque is so true. Like I never know what the fuck is going on. Like even to the point where like
And it's screaming
like-
that obtuseness at you.
oh yeah, and like you go into town and like everything is just like screaming and jumping and
but
like
that fucking song,
hopping
right?
Like I didn't like for it took me 3 or 4 times going through town to realize that I was just completely like skipping over a quest that I was supposed to be doing by like not clicking the right part of the screen.
Yeah.
You know, like yeah, it's so fucking
What's the
obtuse.
phrase that they keep repeating in the time song and the town song?
I don't remember.
I don't know.
It's like the only spoken words in that song are the same thing. It's
don't
like
know.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember what it is.
Like
I've only played like an hour of the game. I need to play more
I don't know,
in order
but
to develop an opinion.
it's
as well.
really cool. I finally just started getting to like fights that were really difficult, you know, like oh, I need to re-equip and rethink my strategy here on this one. So I want to keep going with that. My fuck you for the week. Oh, what's a good fuck you for the week? How about everybody who's
I wash my hands of you.
losing their shit over the new She-Ra cartoon? As if any of those people ever cared about She-Ra before. Has
Listen,
anybody
it's
here?
about ethics, okay?
Has anyone here ever watched She-Ra?
Nope.
Okay, yeah, I mean, like, it's fine. Let the kids have their cartoons. And my thank you for the week goes to... You know what? I'm gonna say thank you to a mysterious benefactor who contacted me earlier today to sponsor my 4-player minute in lieu of Carlos coming through with his sponsorship. He has not. He has been negligent in providing me with material and payment for my 4-player minute. So somebody else came and was like, hey, I want you to say fuck you, Carlos, during your 4-player minute. And I said, I might have to decline, but thank you for your interest. So, Carlos, you better
Whatever, I'll
better
say it.
start
Fuck
sending
you, Carlos.
better start sending my checks again, bud.
People in chat are asking how much it costs to buy you.
I wash my
Oh, I can be bought for pretty cheap.
Good to know. All right, my 4-player minute starts now. My hype is Jurassic World Evolution, man. I am stupid addicted to this game already. Like both times that I've sat down to play this, I've ended up like losing myself and playing for like 2.5, 3 hours, like easy. And I haven't even left the first island yet. I've only unlocked 6 dinosaurs, and I'm like really just getting into the whole park sim thing. It's great. My sweat is that the Jurassic World thing has come at such a weird time. I've once again crossed the 20-hour mark in Fallout 4, and I'm still loving it and still having a great time with it. But I really wasn't. I was hoping I wouldn't like get addicted to something else right now. So I'm kind of worried that this is going to pull me away more than I was hoping from Fallout. But I'm going to make sure that I spend some time playing Fallout here and there in between sessions of Jurassic World. My fuck you goes to all y'all for making it so difficult to talk about Jurassic World, guys. Fuck you.
What? I was just talking about the game with
Oh my god.
Oh, you know, I can finally say it now. But fuck you that every single, like, of these indie Metroidvanias that look really cool are all coming out, announced after we had made plans to do 1998 month in August. Like, after we made that decision. Because we were debating on July, and I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's push it back to August. Not a lot's coming out, you know. It'll give us more time to prepare, yada, yada, yada. And then they're like, oh, by the way, Chasm's coming out July 31st. Oh, by the way, you know, Dead Cells is coming out in early access. And just recently, a week after that, Death's Gambit is coming out. And it's like...
The whole industry's just like...
And they
sure
announced
you
Monster
wanna
Hunter
take
PC
August off?
after we made that decision.
Yep.
Fuck all those games.
And my thank you this week goes to anyone and everyone who has tuned in to watch my Resident Evil stream. I'm having a lot of fun with it. People seem to enjoy watching me go through the series again as well.
How much better is Remake than Zero?
Dude, Remake is fucking incredible.
Yeah. And you don't have to fight sucky leech monsters.
I mean, the leech monsters were like not the worst part
The
of
monkeys,
Zero.
sorry.
The monkeys were
Yeah,
terrible,
the
and just the
monkeys.
really uninspired bosses in Resident Evil
Yeah.
Zero are pretty disappointing. But Resident Evil 1 Remake is a goddamn masterpiece.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Fucking masterpiece. I have no qualms saying that about that game. I'll be able to finish that game tomorrow, or not tomorrow. Sunday probably is probably when I'll end up streaming again, and I have one more session. Should be able to knock that out, and then I won't be streaming Resident Evil again until August when I do Resident Evil 2, which will be part of 1998 month, which we just announced, which I'm also hyped for. There we go. There you have it. Are we done, guys?
I think so.
We're done. Oh my god. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. 4playernetwork.com is the website. Don't forget to join us all month long in August for 1998 month. We'll be reliving one of the best years in gaming. If you have not yet, please join us on Discord. It's discord.gg/4player. And you can, of course, support us on Patreon if you'd like to throw $1 or $2 our way per month. You'll find us at patreon.com/4player. And unless any of y'all have anything to say in closing, that's a wrap.
Nick,
What?
I got something to say.
Okay. I shouldn't have asked. What?
You played Tenchu before. I'll let Resident Evil slide.
Wait, have I? Are you asking me, have I?
No, you have.
Oh, okay. What?
I think you should play Final Fantasy Tactics for 1998 month.
Good night, everybody.
It's the greatest game of all time.
And that's Ocarina of Time, bitch. Good night!